Chapter 746. The whooshing crocodile was slightly shocked when it heard this. Naturally, it could understand Lin Tian's current feelings. At this time, it became much more serious and said in a low voice, "A year has already passed." It did not finish its sentence, but the meaning it wanted to express was not just two words. Most likely, they were doomed. Golden divine light intertwined around Lin Tian's body. There was deep worry in his eyes, but there was more determination. They are not ordinary people. I believe that they're still alive. It is impossible for them to have met with misfortune. Boom! The divine power outside his body rumbled. In an instant, he seemed to have transformed into a golden lightning bolt, breaking through the clouds and splitting the sky. Not long after, a huge island appeared in front of him. The island was astonishingly large, and it was covered with lush vegetation. He had followed the information about the Gorge of No Return that he had obtained from the Sea Tribe cultivator in blue armor to this place. From afar, he could hear the roars of wild beasts shaking the sky. He did not care. After stepping onto this large island, his speed became slightly faster. Not long after, he arrived in front of a huge canyon. Fog intertwined around the surroundings. Human? Human cultivator, leave quickly. Don't make a mistake. If you take another step forward, don't blame us for being merciless. There were 9 Sea Tribe cultivators guarding outside the canyon. The person in the lead was actually a powerful existence at the 7th heaven of immortal ascension. At this moment, as they stared at Lin Tian approaching, the eyes of these Sea Clan cultivators were filled with coldness, and there were traces of killing intent. Lin Tian knew from the Sea Tribe cultivator in blue armor that the Sea Tribe saint would send people to guard this place every day. As long as Bai Ziki and his sister walked out, they would immediately use a special method to inform the tribe, and a Great Virtue Realm cultivator would rush here instantly. Therefore, he was not at all surprised that there were Sea Tribe cultivators guarding this dangerous place. In fact, he was not in the mood to be surprised now. He stepped forward and directly walked forward. This action undoubtedly caused the expressions of the 9 Sea Tribe cultivators guarding outside the Gorge of No Return to turn colder. This human cultivator in front of them actually dared to ignore their words. "You are courting death," the leader of the oceanic species said. Lin Tian didn't say a single word. He took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of the 9 sea race elites. A high-grade celestial sword appeared in his hand, and the high heaven sword manual mercilessly slashed out. For a moment, blood splattered. Except for the 7th heaven of the immortal connection realm, the other 8 Sea Clan cultivators were all slashed into a bloody mist by Lin Tian's sword light in an instant. The leading oceanic species expert retreated, and his expression immediately changed greatly. He was shocked by this terrifying battle strength. Lin Tian stretched out a large golden hand and directly enveloped this Sea Tribe elite within it, directly crushing him into pieces. When he had just entered the connecting immortal realm, he could already kill experts in the 7th heaven of the connecting immortal realm. Now that he had reached the 6th heaven of the connecting immortal realm and had experienced many battles, his combat strength was much stronger than before. An ordinary expert in the 7th heaven of the connecting immortal realm was no different from a chicken or a pottery dog in his hands. He stood outside the canyon and looked inside. He could see a faint white mist interweaving within, making him seem a little lost. He glanced at it and, without any hesitation, stepped into the canyon. Whoosh! As soon as he entered the canyon, gusts of astral wind appeared in the air. Sometimes it was cold, sometimes it was hot, and sometimes it was gentle. It made the man and the crocodile tremble slightly. Previously, when he looked into the canyon from outside, it was clearly calm inside, with only some white mist interweaving within. But after entering, it was such a scene. It's not simple. There's something strange, Whooshing Crocodile said. Lin Tian nodded and walked straight ahead. The vegetation in this canyon was far less dense than the outside world. Walking on the surface, he could occasionally see scattered withered bones. The terrain was even more complicated, making it difficult to identify the direction. Lin Tian walked in. Although he was worried about Bai Chio and Bai Ziki, he did not let his guard down. After all, this place was called a dangerous place, not an ordinary place. He walked forward cautiously. In this canyon, he quickly walked for several hours. In front of them, the space suddenly became brighter, and the vegetation became denser. A figure was standing in front of them, waving his fist. Strands of lightning surrounded his body. Suddenly, an extremely powerful thunder palace rushed out. At the same time, not far away, a girl seemed to be very agile. She was stretching her body and practicing an ancient technique. Bai Pig, Bai Chio. Lin Tianyi was overjoyed. He did not expect to find the brother and sister so easily. He immediately stepped toward them. Boom! It was also at this moment his body shook violently and his origin roared. Wisps of divine light rippled out, stopping him in his tracks. With a crack, like glass shattering, the scene in front of him disappeared. There was no sign of the Bai siblings. There was only a medium-sized spring lying on the ground, with wisps of white mist rising from it. Lin Tian's eyes suddenly narrowed. This is heavenly treasure. Heavenly treasure. I'm here. Lord Crocodile is here. Unknowingly, the 5 elements crocodile had already left the top of his head and was flying forward. Lin Tian raised his hand and caught it directly. Golden divine power flowed into its body, causing it to tremble slightly. Just now, Lord Crocodile saw the heavenly treasure of chaos. Whooshing Crocodile came back to his senses. Naturally, he knew that what he saw just now was not real. I encountered something demonized again. Was I disturbed by the demonic nature? My mind was affected again. Look ahead. Lin Tian pointed ahead. Faint light flickered on his body's surface, overflowing from his life origin, surrounding him and Whooshing Crocodile. Whooshing Crocodile looked up, and its gaze fell on the white mist rising from the spring. A small pool. Wait! Suddenly, the scales all over the 5 elements crocodile's body almost stood up. This can't be the legendary soul-absorbing pool, right? As its name implied, the soul-sucking pool was capable of absorbing the souls of living beings. According to legend, it was born from the grand Tao of the heavens and the earth, and it was filled with grand Taos, causing it to be extremely dangerous. If living beings approached it, then various illusions would be created, and the living beings would be dragged into the pool. Once one was dragged into the pool, then one soul would be instantly sucked away, and even rebirth realm experts were no exception. Damn, it is indeed a dangerous place. There is even such a thing. The 5-element crocodile opened his eyes wide, and his heart palpitated slightly. However, he was immediately surprised as he looked at Lin Tian in disbelief. Speaking of which, kid, you're actually not affected by it. This thing isn't something that the demonized middle-aged man's demonic nature can compare to. It's extremely strange. Once one gets close to it, even a Nirvana realm expert would find it difficult to struggle free. How did you do it? Lin Tian shook his head and did not say much. Just now, he had also fallen into an illusion. Moreover, the illusion was too real. It happened to be the person he was urgently looking for, and he almost fell into it. At that time, even the Yin-Yang Lotus Sea did not warn him and did not react. Instead, it was the reincarnation origin that shone on its own and protected him, allowing him to escape from the illusion. At this time, it was also because of the reincarnation origin's light surrounding his body that he and Whooshing Crocodile could face the soul-absorbing pool directly. He stared ahead and said, "Be careful. I will go around it." "Don't rush," Whooshing Crocodile said. Although the soul-absorbing pool itself is a dangerous place, the pool water is a precious liquid that contains many fragments of the Great Path. We can face the soul-absorbing pool directly now. This is a great opportunity. Quickly take out a container and get some of this pool water. It said, this pool water has many uses. It can be used to refine the precious Baodan, cleanse and strengthen the soul, help cultivators comprehend the Great Path more easily, and can even heal Tao injuries. It is a treasure among treasures. It could be used to refine the precious Baodan, cleanse, and strengthen the soul, and help cultivators comprehend the great path more easily. There was no need to say more about these three uses. They were very shocking. As for Tao injuries, this kind of injury was the most terrifying for cultivators. It was very difficult to heal, and it would affect the foundation of one's cultivation and life force. It was almost impossible to heal. However, the soul-absorbing pool water was said to be able to easily heal Tao injuries. Therefore, this pool water was a very precious divine liquid even for powerful existences in the Nirvana realm. Lin Tian stopped walking forward and nodded. He took out a few large jade containers from the stone ring and absorbed the soul-absorbing pool water from a distance. Then he sealed them one by one with the four-symbol seal. He actually knew that the soul-absorbing pool water had many magical effects. However, he was too worried about the safety of Bai Qiu and Bai Ziki, so he forgot for a moment. He absorbed all the containers on his body into the soul-absorbing pool water. Then, he filled the containers taken out by the whooshing crocodile with the pool water. Then, he bypassed the soul-absorbing pool and continued to walk into the canyon. After walking past the soul-absorbing pool, the white mist in the air became a lot lighter. The surrounding vegetation was still not very dense, and the soil on the ground gradually became a little red. Speaking of which, kid, don't blame Uncle Crocodile for talking too much. Your two friends were forced here. If they also encountered the soul-absorbing pool, would they? The whooshing crocodile said. No, the soul-absorbing pool can't do anything to them. Lin Tian said. Just now, the reincarnation origin shone and protected his mind. He believed that Bai Ziki and Bai Qiu were the same. They were also king bodies. When facing the soul-absorbing pool, the thunder god origin and the lunar origin would definitely have a reaction. In fact, this also showed the strength of king bodies. It was not only reflected in combat power, but also reflected in other aspects. For example, this soul-absorbing pool. Nirvana realm experts would be pulled into the pool and couldn't break free. However, king bodies could face it directly. He stepped on the reddish ground. Although he was very cautious, his footsteps were not slow. In the blink of an eye, he had covered more than 10,000 feet. In front of him, there were several corpses of ferocious beasts lying on the ground. They looked very powerful, at least comparable to Ninth Heaven realm experts. But now, as if struck by lightning, the corpses were charred like charcoal. There is a very shocking thunder power intertwined in the air. The whooshing crocodile said. Lin Tian nodded, and a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. Chapter 747. Lin Tian glanced around. The terrain was flat, but the vegetation was sparser. The ground was charred black and cracked. His eyes shone brightly. Bai Ziki had attacked here and killed a few ferocious beasts comparable to the Ninth Heaven of the Immortal Ascension realm. It was indeed here. He paused for a moment, said something to whooshing crocodile, and continued to walk deeper. The gorge of no return was very wide, and the air was not cold. It was relatively normal. Roar! After walking for about a few hundred feet, a ferocious beast covered in white fur rushed out. Its eyes were huge and dark green, and there was a single horn on its head. It was very similar to the corpses of the ferocious beasts he had encountered before. It directly pounced at Lin Tian. It's comparable to the Ninth Heaven of the Immortal Ascension realm. Whooshing crocodile said. Lin Tian nodded. The high-grade immortal sword shook, and the towering heaven sword light mercilessly slashed out. With a puff, the ferocious beast that rushed out was beheaded. It twitched on the ground a few times, and then stopped moving. He walked forward. In the process, he encountered many ferocious beasts one after another. All of them were not simple. They were very strong, and their demonic power was very strong. However, none of them were particularly terrifying. In the end, they were all killed by his sword. In the blink of an eye, he had walked through the gorge of no return for 3 days. On this day, he found a piece of black stone slag on the ground. It was intertwined with an extremely cold aura, but it was not sinister. Instantly, a divine light flashed across his eyes. This seems to be the Grand Moon Origin Stone? Whooshing Crocodile was surprised. Yes. Lin Tiandao picked up the stone slag from the ground. Back then, when he was in the small village where Xiao AI was, he learned that Bai Ziki and Bai Qiu had dug up a piece of the Grand Moon Origin Stone in the small village, and Bai Qiu had kept it. Now that he found a piece of the Grand Moon Origin Stone here, he knew without thinking that Bai Qiu and Bai Ziki had entered a deeper part of the gorge. "Let's go deeper," he spoke, and his footsteps became even faster. Each step he took was over 100 feet, and he transformed into an afterimage that flickered within the gorge. As he walked deeper in, he saw quite a number of skeletons. There were humans and members of the sea race. Among them, there were more than 10 skeletons that were still in good condition. The skeletons shone with a crystalline light. With one look, one could tell that the owner of the skeletons was very powerful when he was alive, surpassing the celestial reaching realm. He should be a great Tao realm expert who had entered this perilous land and died in the gorge of no return. Ong! A strange cry rang out as a demon spirit rushed out from the ground. Its 4 limbs were covered in scales, but its body was perfectly round. Its aura was shockingly powerful. Lurking beasts like to feast on humans. They are comparable to half-step great Tao experts. Whooshing Crocodile said. It was very knowledgeable, and it was also a demon, so it naturally knew about these things. The crouching beast let out an ear-piercing shriek. It leaped up and pounced toward Lin Tian as if it had been starving for a long time. Lin Tian did not say anything. He raised the immortal sword in his hand, and a thick towering heaven sword aura slashed down. With a puff, the crouching beast was sent flying with blood splattering everywhere. However, it did not die. With a strange cry, it pounced over again. Lin Tian reached out with his large golden hand and slapped down 3 times in a row, directly smashing the crouching beast into meat paste. What a freakish physical body. A demon beast comparable to a half-step great Tao expert was slapped to death just like that. Whooshing Crocodile muttered. Lin Tian went deeper and soon crossed another few thousand feet. At this moment, 9 continuous red mountain ranges appeared in front of him. They were like 9 dragons coiling on the ground, forming a large circle. There was vegetation on it, but the vegetation was very sparse. Most of it was withered and did not have much essence. 9 mountains forming a large circle? It is really unique. Whooshing Crocodile muttered. Lin Tian stared ahead, but his eyes narrowed. This is a treasure land of creation, he said in a deep voice. A treasure land of creation. Whooshing Crocodile was slightly taken aback. What kind of place is this? A spiritual land of cultivation? A deadly ominous territory, Lin Tiandao said. If one does not understand the power of heaven and earth after entering, even a peak Nirvana realm cultivator might be swallowed. A peak Nirvana realm cultivator might be swallowed after entering? Are you kidding me, kid? Whooshing Crocodile stared, then said, besides, it's a deadly ominous territory, but it has a literary name like a treasure land of creation. Is there something wrong with his brain? Which bastard gave it this name? Celestial Venerable Zhang Long, Lin Tiandao. Whooshing Crocodile stared and immediately swallowed his saliva. Lord Crocodile didn't say anything just now. In the history of cultivation in the 10 directions heavenly domain, the 9 celestial lords were all invincible. They could suppress the world with a wave of their hand. Even a wily old fox like Whooshing Crocodile could not help but be in awe of the 9 celestial lords. Lin Tian stared ahead and said, let's go around. He wanted to say go around, but his words suddenly stopped. 2 beams of shocking divine light shot out from his eyes, staring straight at the 9 mountain ranges. In that instant just now, he felt the aura of the source of being. It was precisely coming from those 9 mountain ranges. I want to go in. He was a little excited. The lunar origin aura was unique to Bai Qiu. What? Whooshing Crocodile was so shocked that he almost fell from his head. Kid, didn't you say that it's a deadly ominous territory? Even a peak Nirvana realm cultivator might not be able to come out alive after entering, right? Wasn't it named by the celestial Lord Zhang Long? You want to enter such a dangerous territory? Are you crazy? I sensed her aura inside. My friend should be trapped in this treasure land. Lin Tian on Dao. He stared ahead, and his eyes were intertwined. Whooshing Crocodile opened his mouth and was speechless. Your friend really knows how to choose a place to jump. It's really not simple inside. Not only is the terrain dangerous, but there might be many terrifying evil spirits. Lin Tian said, how about this? You wait for me outside, and I'll go in alone. The light in his eyes became more intense, and golden divine lights jumped out. Whooshing Crocodile was unhappy. What are you talking about? Am I a cowardly crocodile? Since I'm already here, I'll go in together. What's the point of waiting for you outside? You have to be loyal to your friends. Hearing Whooshing Crocodile's words, Lin Tian was a little surprised. He smiled and said, I see you in a new light. He stared ahead. Since Whooshing Crocodile had said so, he naturally wouldn't be unreasonable. He walked directly toward the 9 mountains. At the same time, he said, although I'm not 100% sure that I can escape unscathed after entering, I'm at least 50% sure. I've also dabbled a little in the power of heaven and earth. Whooshing Crocodile curled his lips. You've dabbled in a lot. It's okay. Lin Tian on Dao. He walked in a straight line and soon entered the range of the 9 red mountains. In an instant, the air seemed to become heavy, and there was an oppressive aura around him. This is really unusual, Whooshing Crocodile muttered. Lin Tian nodded and said, after this, no matter what happens, stay on top of my head. Don't move. He walked into the 9 mountains and was clearly much more careful. With every step, the soles of his feet flashed with dragon patterns. He quickly sank into the ground to explore the power of heaven and earth around him. Then, he followed the fluctuations of the aura of heaven and earth and headed forward. Boom! Suddenly, the earth trembled. A demonic shadow about 50 feet tall appeared in front of him. It was like a mountain and pressed down on him. For a moment, the entire space shook and the sky seemed to be collapsing. F***CK. What the hell? Kid, dodge. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Don't move. Just wait patiently. That's an illusion formed by the power of heaven and earth. In reality, it doesn't exist. It's just an illusion. However, once such an illusion appears, the surrounding space will immediately be filled with killing lights. If you move recklessly and come into contact with the invisible killing lights, even a half-step Great Dao expert won't be able to withstand it and will be killed on the spot. Lin Tian on Dao. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes widened even more. It's fake? Are you sure? Lin Tian on Dao said, I'm sure. His tone was very calm, but Whooshing Crocodile had no choice but to believe him. He simply stared at the huge demonic shadow and stepped forward. With a boom, the demonic shadow raised its leg and pressed down like a mountain, covering Lin Tian and Whooshing Crocodile underneath. Oh my God, if what comes after that is real, Lord Crocodile will be the first to become a meat patty. Whooshing Crocodile shrank its head. Kid, if you're wrong, Lord Crocodile will not let you off even if I become a ghost. Lin Tian didn't say anything and directly stepped forward. Boom! The huge demonic shadow's leg landed, shaking the heavens and earth. However, in the next moment, it passed through Lin Tian and Whooshing Crocodile's bodies. Nothing happened. It's really an illusion. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes widened. Lin Tian didn't say anything. His footsteps were very regular as he continued to move forward. Not long after, the ground shook again, and an earth corpse rushed out. Its flesh was rotten, and the aura it emitted was extremely shocking. You can't fool Lord Crocodile this time. Kid, walk straight over. Whooshing Crocodile said, It's real this time, Lin Tian said. He directly propped up the divine fire cauldron. The flames surged and drowned the earth corpse. Suddenly, an ear-piercing roar was heard. The corpse chi rushed into the sky like a dark cloud rolling away. F***CK. It's really real. Whooshing Crocodile cursed. Lin Tian held a high-grade Dao weapon and swept out the divine fire. Then, he used a special footwork and bypassed the earth corpse in the blink of an eye. He followed the fluctuation of the lunar chi and stepped forward. Kid, Why don't you kill it? Whooshing Crocodile asked. It's formed by the earth vein evil chi. Killing it will take some effort. I don't want to waste time on it now. Lin Tian said. He sensed Bai Chio's aura and was in a hurry to find him. How could he have the time to kill an earth corpse? Whooshing Crocodile acknowledged and didn't say anything else. Lin Tian's footsteps were neither fast nor slow. The dragon inscriptions under his feet intertwined as he explored the path. Even though he was in a hurry to find Bai Chio and Bai Ziki, he didn't dare be careless in a place like the treasure grounds of good fortune. Because once he stepped into this place, a single wrong step could lead to his death. So he had no choice but to be extremely cautious. Roar! After walking for another few hundred feet, there was a sudden roar in front of him. The evil chi was threatening. At the same time, the lunar chi was also extremely rich in the evil chi. There was a strong fluctuation of divine power. Lin Tian was surprised and happy. His footsteps immediately quickened. The golden divine light was dazzling and rushed forward like a bolt of lightning. Chapter 748. Lin Tian was pleasantly surprised. The purple-clothed girl was none other than Bai Chio, whom he had been looking for a long time. He finally found her. Divine radiance interweaved around his entire body. He took a step forward, his golden fist oppressing the skies, smashing down on that three-headed, six-armed creature, directly crushing an expanse of the void. Bang! With a boom, the three-headed, six-armed being was directly sent flying, crashing into a huge yellow rock far away. Sand and dust swirled up like a gust of wind, causing Bai Chio to retreat in shock. Who? Looking ahead through the sand and dust, Bai Chio held her sword in front of her chest and stared ahead vigilantly. However, in the next moment, when she saw Lin Tian's appearance, she was instantly stunned. Lin Tian had a smile on his face. Haven't seen each other for a few years. Don't you recognize me? Bai Chio stared blankly for a moment. Then, with a wah, he sheathed his sword and pounced over like a child. He hugged Lin Tian tightly, as if he was afraid that Lin Tian would run away. The girl's unique fragrance floated into his nose. Lin Tian thought of the bits and pieces of their past interactions, and the smile on his face deepened. "Io, kid, so your little lover is trapped here. No wonder you're so anxious." Whooshing Crocodile was a big mouth. Lin Tian was too lazy to bother with this rogue crocodile and rubbed Bai Chio's head. Bai Chio recovered from her initial surprise and hurriedly let go of Lin Tian, sniffling. "So slow. That year, I thought you'd be back in a month or two." This girl was also an optimist. After complaining for a bit, she quickly became happy. "However, to think that you could find this place. We are indeed fated." Seeing Bai Chio again after a few years, Lin Tian was quite happy. He scanned with his divine sense and discovered Bai Chio's current realm. Fifth heaven of the Ascension realm. Not bad. He sized Bai Chio up and smiled. "Oh, you become prettier too." "Really? I think so too." Bai Chio was quite happy that Lin Tian said she had become prettier. Lin Tian was amused. This girl was still as narcissistic as ever. Hey. You two are so lovey-dovey. How can you just ignore Master Crocodile?" Whooshing Crocodile was dissatisfied. Lin Tian ignored it. Bai Chio, on the other hand, looked up curiously and poked the five elements crocodile. Then, she looked at Lin Tian. "Why did you put a lizard on your head?" Lin Tian, "Bah, little girl, what's wrong with your eyes? Look carefully. I'm an alligator. Great crocodile, do you understand?" The Whooshing Crocodile was infuriated. It was an ancient beast, yet it was called a lizard by a human girl. As it spoke, it stared at Bai Chio and spread open a pair of wings on its back. Bai Chio's beautiful eyes widened, and her mouth formed an O shape. "Lizards have wings." Lin Tian, Whooshing Crocodile, F*CK. Lin Tian actually wanted to laugh, but he held back in the end. Boom! At this moment, a violent roar sounded. In the distance, the three-headed, six-armed creature that was sent flying by Lin Tian stood up again. Its murderous aura was oppressive, and an extremely tyrannical aura spread out, causing hurricanes to appear in the surroundings. Lin Tian protected by Chiao behind him and looked up. "Be careful, this big guy is very powerful," Bai Chiao said. Whooshing Crocodile found an opportunity and immediately attacked Bai Chiao. "It's not that it's very powerful, but you're too weak. Little lizard, don't talk nonsense. I'm not weak. Even a half-step Great Tao expert is no match for me. Moreover, I still have a great technique that I haven't used. If I use it, it won't be able to defeat me," Bai Chiao said. Whooshing Crocodile didn't believe her. "Little girl, you're bragging. You're just a little girl. How can you defeat a half-step Great Tao expert?" As it spoke, its face darkened. "Also, don't call Lord Crocodile a little lizard. Lord Crocodile is a crocodile, a crocodile." When it heard the name Little Lizard, it really had the urge to bang its head against the wall. "All right," Bai Chiao nodded and said, "Little crocodile." Whooshing Crocodile, F***CK. That's not even as good as a little lizard. Lin Tian stared at the three-headed, six-armed creature in front of him. With a sweep of his divine sense, he could sense the strength of the other party. It was comparable to an ordinary Great Tao expert. Of course, this was only comparable to a Great Tao expert in terms of strength. If all kinds of techniques were used together to make a comprehensive comparison, the other party was still far from a true Great Tao expert. It could be called invincible under the Great Tao. He muttered to himself. Bai Chiao tugged at him and asked softly, "Can you defeat it?" Lin Tian couldn't help but laugh. "You already said that you can defeat it. Do you think I'm weaker than you?" He asked Bai Chiao to stand still while he took a step forward. Golden divine light shone out of his body, becoming extremely dazzling. "You've reached the connecting celestial tier." Bai Chiao blinked. However, he immediately felt somewhat puzzled and mumbled, "But it's so strange. I feel that your aura has changed completely. It wasn't like this before. Moreover, your true essence wasn't golden in color either." In the past, when he was below the connecting celestial tier, Lin Tian cultivated the Yin-Yang Sutra. After he reached the connecting celestial tier, he replaced it with the Sun Heart Sutra. Naturally, there were some changes to his aura. The color of his newly born divine power was also different from the color of his true essence. Roar! At this moment, a violent roar rang out in front of him. The three-headed, six-armed creature strode over, and its 6 arms pressed down together. With a crack, the void was torn apart. Lin Tian strode forward and directly clenched his fists. His golden fists shook the sky. Bang! 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 His punches were very fast. 2 golden fists clashed with the enemy's 6 arms, sending out waves of vibrations in the air. After a few breaths, with a poof, blood exploded. One of the three-headed, 6-armed creature's arms was smashed to pieces. So powerful, Bai Chiao's mouth formed an O shape again. She had just used a powerful sword technique, but it hadn't left a single mark on the creature's body. However, now, Lin Tian had used only his fist to shatter one of the creature's arms. This really surprised her. However, this was only for a moment. In the next moment, she was no longer surprised. She stared at Lin Tian and mumbled softly, "He's still the same as before. His body is as strong as a dragon's." In front of him, the 3-headed, 6-armed creature roared. Its 3 faces all became ferocious, and its eyes were blood-red. Lin Tian didn't show any mercy. Arcs of electricity interwove at the tip of his fist, and a powerful punch pressed forward. Poof! Blood splattered. The 3-headed, 6-armed creature was blasted into the sky. Its remaining 5 arms all exploded. Lin Tian's feet flashed. In the next moment, he appeared beside the creature and pressed down with his golden fist again. Boom! The violent punch was like the sound of a sacred drum. It pierced through the void and landed heavily on the creature's abdomen. With a poof, the creature was torn to pieces and directly exploded in the sky. It was smashed to death? Bai Chiao stared. Lin Tian landed and stepped on the ground again. He returned to Bai Chiao's side and said with a smile, "How was it?" After his cultivation reached the 6th heaven of the connecting immortal realm, his divine power had become more vigorous. Naturally, his physique had become more powerful as well. Now, in terms of physique, even an eighth heaven of the Great Path cultivator might not be able to defeat him. Very powerful. Like a freak. Bai Qiu was surprised. Lin Tian, don't you know how to speak? What did you mean by like a freak? After dealing with that creature, he suddenly glanced left and right, feeling somewhat puzzled. Where's your brother? He asked. He saw Bai Qiu here, but did not see Bai Ziki. This made him feel very strange. He knew how much Bai Ziki doted on his only sister. It was impossible for him to let Bai Qiu face such a powerful demon spirit alone. Hearing Lin Tian mention Bai Ziki, Bai Qiu immediately became anxious. At the same time, she sniffled. These 9 mountains are very strange. After my brother and I entered here, we couldn't get out no matter how hard we tried. We were in danger several times. I think it was 3 months ago when we were attacked by a group of very powerful evil spirits. My brother and I got separated. I haven't been able to find him. Lin Tian suddenly understood. No wonder Bai Qiu would fight the 3-headed, 6-armed creature alone here and not see Bai Ziki. It turned out that the siblings were separated. He rubbed Bai Qiu's head and comforted her. Don't worry, that pig head should still be here. Moreover, you know that he's very strong. Nothing will happen to him. We'll find him immediately. Bai Qiu nodded. Now that Lin Tian was by her side, she felt more at ease. It was as if she had an extra pillar of support. Do you have any clues? He asked Bai Qiu. Bai Qiu shook her head dejectedly. She pointed to the northwest and said to Lin Tiandao, I only remember that my brother was swept in that direction. In the past 3 months, she had been heading in that direction. However, there were too many evil spirits and demon beasts here. Moreover, some of the terrain was very strange. She had almost been in danger several times. After walking for so long, she had not been able to cross that far. All right, it's fine as long as we know the general location. Lin Tiandao. He pulled Bai Qiu and walked towards the northwest without hesitation. The gorge of no return was very vast. The air inside was not cold, but the terrain was very complicated. 2 people and 1 crocodile walked towards the northwest. Gradually, a hazy mist floated out of the air. The mist was very light at first, but it soon became thick, causing the surrounding scenery to become much blurrier. With pure vision, one could only see the scene 1 meter away. Kid, this mist is strange. Lord Crocodile feels that my sense of direction has become chaotic. My divine consciousness can't distinguish it. Whooshing Crocodile suddenly said. Me too. Bai Qiu also said. Lin Tian pulled Bai Qiu and continued to move forward. He said, it's okay. I can distinguish it. The mist was produced by the earth vein essence chi, so it interfered with divine sense. However, he had the dragon burial scripture, so although his divine sense was interfered with, his grasp of the surrounding terrain was not affected. Once the dragon mark appeared, he could clearly see everything around him. Really? Are you sure you can distinguish it? Whooshing Crocodile said. You said before that these 9 mountains are very dangerous. 1 wrong step and you may die. Don't try to be brave just because your little lover is by your side. Your life is more important. Lin Tian was too lazy to bother with it. His pace was neither fast nor slow. He pulled Bai Qiu forward. With every step, dense dragon patterns flickered and quickly disappeared into the ground, then extended in all directions. However, in the next moment, he suddenly stopped in his tracks. Kid, what's wrong? Is there a problem? Whooshing Crocodile asked. Lin Tian's eyes intertwined with the light of the dragon patterns. Something came out and a lot of it. Chapter 749. The surrounding fog was hazy. Listening to Lin Tian's words, Whooshing Crocodile was stunned. There's something? Why didn't I see it? In this fog, not only was one's vision hindered, but one's divine sense was also greatly affected. It was difficult to perceive the surroundings. Bai Qiu didn't see or feel it, but he didn't say anything. He just carefully looked around. You'll see it soon? Lin Tiandao. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, pairs of green eyes lit up in the surrounding fog. They looked a little demonic, causing the temperature of the space to suddenly drop a lot. A chill swept out. Whooshing Crocodile stared. What the hell is this? They're all evil spirits formed by the earth vein, evil chi. Lin Tiandao. Bai Qiu glanced around and muttered, "There are so many of them." The green eyes were particularly dazzling in the hazy fog. Even if one's vision and divine sense were hindered, one could still see them at a glance. The next moment, these green eyes all came over, making whooshing sounds. "Kid, they're here," Whooshing Crocodile said. Bai Qiu immediately wanted to use the Bai family's great technique, but he was stopped by Lin Tian. "I'll do it." Lin Tiandao. With a buzz, he directly propped up the yin-yang lotus sea. The dense black and white lotus petals swept out like black and white swords. Suddenly, ear-piercing screams rang out. His yin-yang lotus sea was able to restrain all evils. These creatures with green eyes were formed from baleful chi, so they were naturally a type of evils. Under his sea of consciousness, it was very difficult for them to withstand. In the blink of an eye, all the green eyes disappeared, and the chill in the air disappeared. "Let's go." Lin Tiandao. He pulled Bai Qiu along as he strode forward slowly and steadily. With every step he took, dragon patterns would interweave beneath his feet. Even though the mist in the surroundings was extremely dense, it did not affect him in the slightest. The dragon patterns stretched out, and everything was directly presented in his sea of divine sense. Soon, the mist in the air became faint and slowly disappeared. His vision and divine sense were no longer affected. At this moment, as far as the eye could see, the surrounding soil turned even redder. Oh! Suddenly, a gust of strong wind swept up from not far away. In the blink of an eye, dozens of strange creatures appeared in their field of vision. They had no nose on their faces, only a mouth and an eye. They looked demonic and horrifying, causing one's scalp to go numb. The auras these single-eyed creatures released were all extremely powerful, and their fiendish auras were extremely dense. They were like death gods as they pressed towards the two individuals and the alligator. They are truly comparable to great Tao experts. Every single one of them is more than 10 times stronger than the 6-armed monster from before. Whooshing Crocodile glared at him. Lin Tian and Bai Qiu naturally sensed the aura emanating from the other party's body, and their expressions changed. In the blink of an eye, dozens of one-eyed creatures approached. Their murderous auras swirled around them as they attacked the two people and the crocodile. "Don't attack, just dodge them." Lin Tiandao. With so many powerful creatures gathered together, it was obviously not a wise choice to fight them head-on. The dragon patterns on the soles of his feet flickered, forming a dragon pattern. He pulled Bai Qiu with him as they shuttled through the dozens of single-eyed creatures. His steps were strange, looking mysterious and dreamy. It was as if he was stepping on Tao marks as he moved forward, but it also seemed like he was teleporting. The single-eyed creatures around him were clearly densely packed, and they were all madly attacking, but they could not even scratch the corner of his clothes. Whooshing Crocodile glared. "Brat, your movement speed is suddenly faster than a Wuxian expert. How did you do it?" "I just wanted to do it, so I did it," Lin Tian said casually. The terrain of this place was a little special. He temporarily borrowed the momentum here to use the dragon burial scripture. Relying on the special terrain, his speed naturally could not be measured by common sense. In the blink of an eye, he circled around the dozens of single-eyed creatures and continued forward. Soon, a day passed, and the two people and the alligator walked far away. "Big Brother's aura. I can feel it. It's just ahead." Bai Qiu was pleasantly surprised and pointed at a mountain in front of them. Lin Tian naturally also felt Bai Ziqi's aura. It was coming from the mountain that Bai Qiu pointed at. He looked at the mountain, and the light of the dragon patterns intertwined in his eyes. In the next moment, he frowned. Just now, he used the dragon burial scripture to explore. He only felt that the mountain seemed to be in a boundless fog, but it also seemed to be in a nest of ferocious beasts. The mountain itself was like a ferocious beast that wanted to devour all creatures that came close. Your big brother really knows how to choose a place to jump. He was speechless. No matter how he looked at it, that mountain was the most dangerous place in this blessed land. Bai Qiu tilted her head to look at him and asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Lin Tian shook his head. Since he found Bai Ziqi's aura, he naturally would not hesitate and directly pulled Bai Qiu toward the mountain. He was very fast. The dragon pattern scanned the surroundings to find a safe route. It didn't take long for them to reach the front of the mountain. When they were close to the mountain, the surrounding air seemed to be more oppressive. There was a majestic force in the air, as if the Milky Way was about to fall from the sky. "Bratlin, why does this mountain look like a monster?" Lord Crocodile has a bad feeling about this place. Wuxing Crocodile muttered. "That's right," Lin Tian said. When they arrived, Bai Ziqi's aura became stronger. It was coming from the mountain. He didn't stop and directly stepped into the mountain with Bai Qiu. Entering the mountain, there was very sparse vegetation growing in the mountain. They could only see one every few hundred feet. Moreover, they were all withered. Most of them were crimson stones and yellow soil. "It's an ominous place at first glance," Wuxing Crocodile muttered. "Little Crocodile, don't be long-winded. Can you be a man?" "I'm not afraid." "What are you afraid of?" Bai Qiu said. Wuxing Crocodile, I #yin. Don't call me Little Crocodile. Lin Tian scanned the surroundings. The dragon pattern on the soles of his feet spread out and spread to the surroundings. He followed Bai Ziqi's aura and walked forward. As he walked, his pace seemed to be slower. He was very cautious. Whoosh! A breeze blew. Not far away, a withered old tree swayed with the wind. On the withered tree, yellow leaves fell and drifted towards the two people and the crocodile with the breeze. Wuxing Crocodile stared at the yellow leaves and said in surprise, "Why do these leaves look like a human?" Bai Qiu looked over and agreed. "Yes, the leaf network on the leaves looks like the meridians of the human body. Let's grab a piece and take a look." Wuxing Crocodile stretched out its claws and stretched forward. "Stop! Don't move!" Lin Tian stared at the leaves for a while. The next moment he was moved. He swayed his feet and used the dragon pattern to explore the way. In an instant, he moved more than 30 feet away. Brat, how swish! Before Wuxing Crocodile could finish speaking, a withered leaf landed on a red boulder in the area where they were previously. It instantly melted the boulder completely. At the same time, other leaves fell. Anything that came into contact with them melted in the blink of an eye. Not even a speck of dust was left. Immediately, Wuxing Crocodile and Bai Qiu could not help but be shocked. Wuxing Crocodile opened its mouth. "Those leaves!" Lin Tian glanced at the withered trees in this mountain and said, "These old trees are soul-burying trees. The leaves are soul-burying leaves. They look no different from ordinary leaves. However, once they come into contact with them, they will immediately suffer. Not to mention their bodies will be corroded. Even their divine power and soul will be annihilated in an instant. Even great Tao realm experts will not be able to withstand it. It's so cruel." Wuxing Crocodile widened its eyes. Lin Tian nodded. "This mountain is the most dangerous place in this terrain. Don't underestimate anything." He spoke very seriously. He sized up the surroundings and continued forward. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, the two of them and the crocodile had already been in this mountain for more than 12 hours. Boom! At this moment, an astonishing divine power fluctuation came from ahead. The power of lightning surged. "It's brother!" Bai Qiu was delighted. A glint flashed across Lin Tian's eyes. His speed immediately increased. Soon, he crossed a distance of more than 10,000 feet. There was a depression in front of them. Large boulders were scattered around. A purple-clothed young man was fighting with a group of humanoid creatures with black scales. These humanoid creatures were all more than 10 feet tall. They were like giants and were very strong. The purple-clothed young man was Bai Ziqi. Lightning interweaved around his body, and he killed a humanoid creature. Black blood splattered all over the sky. As far as the eye could see, there were more than 30 humanoid creatures lying on the ground. They were all corpses. They had all been killed. "Brother!" Bai Qiu was pleasantly surprised. After more than 3 months, she had finally found her biological brother. Naturally, she was very happy. When Bai Ziqi heard this, He quickly turned his head to look. When he saw Bai Qiu, his somewhat resolute expression instantly relaxed. Clearly, he had been very worried about her during this period. However, in the next moment, his gaze focused. He saw Lin Tian beside Bai Qiu. "It's you!" Lin Tian waved his hand and greeted with a smile. "Yo!" Bai Ziki snorted coldly. Clearly, he still did not like him. Lightning interweaved around his body as he fought with a group of humanoid creatures that were more than 10 feet tall. There were many of these humanoid creatures, and all of them were very terrifying. They were far stronger than ordinary half-step Great Dao experts. Although they were not invincible under the Great Dao realm, they were close. Whooshing Crocodile glanced at the dozens of humanoid creatures' corpses on the ground and was a little surprised. These humanoid creatures, one of them is equivalent to 5 half-step Great Dao experts. He is facing so many of them at the same time and actually slaughtered more than 30 of them alive. Moreover, he doesn't seem to have suffered any injuries. It's just that his divine power is about to dry up. Lin Tian was not very surprised. Bai Ziki's talent was astonishing. Moreover, he had the Thunder God physique. His battle prowess had always been very terrifying. "Help!" Bai Qiu pushed him. "What's the hurry? Let's wait a little longer." Lin Tian pursed his lips. At the same time, he pulled Bai Qiu back, not allowing her to go forward. "You saw just now. He snorted coldly at me the moment we met. Let those monsters beat him up first." Bai Qiu was stunned. Then, she became furious. "What are you talking about?" Chapter 750. Hearing Whooshing Crocodile's words, Lin Tian was speechless. "Who's being despicable? Don't you know how to talk? Help!" Bai Qiu was so angry that he pushed Lin Tian again. At this moment, Bai Ziki was surrounded by a group of humanoid creatures that were about 10 feet tall. His divine power was really about to be depleted. Even though his attacks weren't messy, his footsteps were faintly shaky. "Kid, if you don't help now, your brother-in-law might accidentally die." Whooshing Crocodile laughed. Lin Tian looked ahead and saw that Bai Ziki's situation was becoming more and more obvious. Bai Ziki's stamina was about to run out. Lin Tian stopped watching and let go of Bai Qiu. With a step, he flashed over and kicked away a humanoid creature that was attacking Bai Ziki. "You killed more than 30 great beasts by yourself. Not bad," he said. Bai Ziki snorted coldly. He did not want to talk to him. Lin Tian pursed his lips. Golden divine light surged around his body. A divine sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed out a large sword light. Clang! The ear-piercing sound of the sword reverberated. He used the High Heaven Sword scripture, so his attack was naturally shockingly powerful. It did not take long for him to tear apart a powerful humanoid creature and mince it into minced meat. Bai Ziki was moved. A glint flashed across his eyes. He was obviously shocked by Lin Tian's sword technique. So powerful. Bai Qiu was also shocked. Clang! 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 The sound of the sword was ear-piercing, and it reverberated in this space. Lin Tian used the High Heaven Sword scripture to the extreme. The golden sword light swept across the sky. It was really unstoppable. Wherever it passed, nothing could stop it. It tore apart powerful humanoid creatures one after another. Blood splattered all over the sky. Very quickly, 2 hours passed. Poof! Lin Tian slashed out a 3-meter-long sword light with the back of his hand, killing the last humanoid creature. Its demonic body was directly torn into pieces. In an instant, the place became much quieter. Lin Tian put away his immortal sword and looked at Bai Ziki. He teased, "Bai Ziki, can you stand still? Do you want me to support you?" Bai Ziki snorted coldly. His face was slightly pale. He secretly operated the Bai family's mental cultivation method to absorb the spiritual energy in this space to heal his injuries. Bai Qiu ran over and grabbed Bai Ziki's arm. "Brother, are you hurt?" Bai Ziki shook his head and looked Bai Qiu up and down. Seeing that Bai Qiu was unharmed, he let out a sigh of relief. Lin Tian studied Bai Ziki. Now, Bai Ziki was in the 8th heaven of the connecting immortal realm. Although his divine power was almost depleted, the aura he naturally exuded was still very strong. He really did seem to have a trace of the majesty of the thunder god. Boom! Suddenly the space trembled. An evil aura swept out from the depths of the mountain, causing the sky to tremble. As soon as this aura appeared, the heaven and earth instantly became deathly silent. As far as the eye could see, there was a mine in the depths of the mountain. The evil aura spread out from there, as if the door to the underworld had been opened. Instantly, Lin Tian and Bai Chio's expressions changed. They were both shocked by this aura. Even Wuxing Crocodile, who had once reached the peak of Nirvana realm, was no exception. He felt a deep sense of horror. That mine is a little scary. We can't go near it. Now that we've found the person, don't stay. Hurry up and leave. Wuxing Crocodile spoke very quickly. At this time, the aura overflowing from the mine was really terrifying. It was a little scary, and it gave people a deep sense of powerlessness. Lin Tian grunted. Naturally, he also felt the danger of the mine. Without any hesitation, he immediately turned around and went back the way he came. Bai Ziki frowned and didn't say anything. He followed Bai Chio and followed Lin Tian. Soon, an hour passed. Kid, after walking for so long, why does Grandpa Crocodile feel that we are closer to the mine? Wuxing Crocodile suddenly said. I feel the same way, Bai Chio whispered. In the beginning, they were only about 50 miles away from the mine in the depths of the mountain. But now, after walking with their backs to the mine for an hour, they seem to be only 40 miles away from the mine. Lin Tian frowned and looked into the distance. After walking for an hour, they were indeed a little closer to the mine. Bai Ziki spoke at this time and said in a deep voice, This mountain is very strange. After I stepped here, I tried to walk out several times, but I failed. No matter how I walked, I was getting closer and closer to the depths of the mountain. Instead, I attracted many evil spirits. Earlier, when Lin Tian was walking out, he frowned because he had already done it several times before. However, he had failed every time. At this time, Lin Tian and the others also failed. That's why he mentioned this matter. Brother-in-law, why did you jump in here? Wuxing Crocodile said angrily. Bai Ziki stared at Wuxing Crocodile and frowned. In the end, he just snorted coldly. Okay, let's continue. Lin Tiandao. After speaking, he continued to walk in the opposite direction of the mine in the depths of the mountain. However, after a few hours, he found that his group was even closer to the mine. They were only 30 miles away. At this time, the sky gradually became dark and the full moon rose. The moonlight sprinkled on the mountain, making it a vast expanse of silver. The world became much quieter because of this. Lin Tian, Bai Ziki, and the others walked out, but at this moment, it was not quiet at all. They had been walking with their backs to the mine for a long time, but no matter how hard they tried, they could not get far away from the mine. It was as if there was a terrifying force pulling them, trying to pull them into the mine. Even if Lin Tian used the dragon burial scripture, it was useless. As time passed, the night grew darker, and more monsters appeared in this mountain range. In the east, a single-horned wolf howled at the sky. It was ferocious and intimidating, comparable to a seventh firmament of the great Tao cultivator. In the south, a few old corpses were breathing in and out moonlight toward the starry sky. Corpse chi interweaved around like an ocean. In the west, a group of one-eyed creatures stood alone and did not move. They were demonic and terrifying. In the north, a 15-meter-tall giant demon was walking. Every step it took made the earth tremble. At the same time, all kinds of monsters appeared in other corners of this mountain. They were all very unusual. It's a gathering of demons and ghosts. Wuxing Crocodile curled his lips. Stop joking. Let's go quickly. Lin Tiandao. He appeared to be very careful. The dragon burial scripture was circulating rapidly. More and more dragon patterns entered the ground, searching for the veins of this world. They moved out of the mountain. The route was indeed toward the outside. However, when he came back to his senses, their group was closer to the mine. They were less than 20 miles away. We won't be trapped here forever, right? This is not good. will be dismembered and eaten by the demons and ghosts here. Whooshing crocodile stared. In fact, at this time, there were already demons in the darkness staring at them. A few old corpses in the south strode over and stared straight at Lin Tian, Bai Ziki, and Bai Chio. They were surrounded by thick corpse chi. Let's go. Don't face them head on. It'll attract more monsters. Lin Tiandao. He seriously circulated the dragon burial scripture and used the dragon patterns to explore the surrounding environment and terrain. He continued to lead the way in front. However, after an hour, there was still no effect. Instead, they were only 19 miles away from the mine. Kid, how are you leading the way? Lord Crocodile is coming. Whooshing Crocodile said. As it spoke, it flew out from Lin Tian's head and said, 3 little cubs, follow your Lord Crocodile. In the blink of an eye, another 2 hours passed. The distance between the 3 of them and the crocodile became 14 miles. Lin Tian glanced at it, and the latter suddenly looked embarrassed. Let me do it. Bai Chio stepped forward bravely. After an hour, the distance between them and the mine became 11 miles. The 2 of them and the crocodile tilted their heads and looked at Bai Ziki. Didn't I say before? Before you came, I'd already walked hundreds of times. It's useless. Bai Ziki said. Whooshing Crocodile looked at the mine in the depths of the mountain. As it was closer, the evil and terrifying aura was more profound. It couldn't help but curse. Damn it. What kind of broken place is this? It's so evil. This kind of general trend involves a lot of things. It can't be judged with common sense. Lin Tiandao. His mood was a little heavy. In the past, he had encountered similar dangerous situations that were difficult to get out of. However, relying on the dragon burial scripture, he spent some essence and finally walked out. But now, this blessed land was too extraordinary. He had already brought out a dense number of dragon patterns underground, but it was useless. He couldn't leave this mountain at all. It was as if there was an invisible demonic power shrouding them, trying to pull them into the mine. What should we do now? Or do we keep walking out like this? But Lord Crocodile thinks that it's useless no matter how far we go. Whooshing Crocodile sighed. What should we do? Bai Chio looked at Lin Tian, then at his brother Bai Ziki, and then at Lin Tian. Bai Ziki frowned. Although he was very strong, he was helpless in the face of this kind of general trend. Lin Tian stared at the mine. Dragon patterns intertwined in his eyes. After a pause, he said, we can only enter that mine. What? Whooshing Crocodile's eyes widened. Kid, are you stupid? Not only it, but even Bai Ziki and Bai Chio looked at him. At this time, even though they were very far away, they could feel that the mine was very scary. It was like the gate to hell. There was a demonic force leading them there, and they had been avoiding the mine all this time. But now, Lin Tian actually said that they could directly enter the mine. Lin Tian stared at the mine with a serious expression, but he was very calm. He said, first, no matter where we go now, we can't get out. We're always close to the mine. This is a kind of reverse trend. If we want to break through this reverse trend, we can only enter the mine and find a way out of the mountain. In other words, we can only leave this mountain by entering the mine. There's no other choice. Second, in this mountain, the great calamities seem to have discovered us and are approaching us. We can't stop them all. Third, this place is called the Blessed Land of Fortune. Although it's called the Ominous Territory, there's another meaning to it. That is, there's an extraordinary divine item in this general trend. As he spoke, his eyes shone brightly as he stared at the mine in the depths. I'm guessing that if this blessed land really gave birth to a divine item, then the divine item must be in that mine. End of chapter. Chapter 751. Listening to Lin Tian's words, Bai Ziki, Bai Chio, and Whooshing Crocodile were all moved. Bai Chio and Whooshing Crocodile said at the same time, is there a god artifact there? After that, the man and crocodile stared at each other again. Lin Tian nodded and said, if there is a god artifact here, it must be there. You just said that this place is against the trend of heaven and earth. Do you know anything about it? Bai Ziki glanced at Lin Tian. I dabbled in it a little. Lin Tian glanced back. At this time, There was a low roar, and the earth was shaking. Many ferocious spirits in this mountain range were approaching. "There's no time. Let's go." Lin Tiandao. After he finished speaking, he immediately walked in the front and headed toward the mine. There was a saying in ancient times that they would fight to survive. That was what they had to do now. Only by entering the mine could they find a way out of the mountain range. The ferocious spirits roared all around. The terrifying one-eyed creature, the terrifying demonic shadow, and the violent ferocious wolf were all closing in. Whooshing crocodile looked behind and immediately shrank its neck. "Hurry up. We're going to be swallowed." As it spoke, it was indignant. "Kid, Lord Crocodile realized that you are really a jinx. Nothing good ever happens after meeting you. First, I lost my cultivation. Then, I was chased by ghosts. After walking for a month in the underground river, I am now being chased by a group of monsters and ferocious spirits." As it complained, it became even angrier. Damn it. If Lord Crocodile's cultivation was still at its peak, these little bastards would be nothing. Lord Crocodile would stare them to death. Lin Tian couldn't be bothered with it. He used the dragon tattoo to open a path underground. His speed was neither fast nor slow, and they were getting closer and closer to the mine. As they got closer to the mine, the oppressive aura became stronger, and the space became quieter. Why do I see a few corpses walking in the cave?" Bai Qiu suddenly said. These words undoubtedly shocked the other two people and the crocodile. Whooshing Crocodile said angrily, "Little girl, don't talk nonsense. We have already decided to go there to seize the divine object. Bah, to find a way out. Don't hurt our morale." That mine was very unusual. If there were corpses moving inside, they would be at least at the divine ghost level, which was enough to completely destroy them. Bai Qiu nodded and muttered, "All right, maybe I was mistaken." Lin Tian and Bai Ziki both glanced at Bai Qiu, a glint flashing across their eyes. "In short, we can only go to that place now. After entering that place, we must be very careful." Lin Tiandao. A strange light flashed in his eyes. Bai Qiu had the Lunar King physique and had the lunar origin. Her perception of evil spirits was much more sensitive than his. Now that Bai Qiu said that she saw corpses walking in the mine, it was very likely that there were corpses moving inside. If that was the case, those corpses would be very scary, and they would not be able to stop them. However, they had no choice now. If they did not enter the mine, they would not be able to leave. Moreover, they would not be able to stop the monsters and evil spirits in this mountain range. This terrain has nurtured many evil spirits, but at the same time, it has trapped them here. Otherwise, if they were allowed to walk out, who knows how big of a disaster it would cause. He muttered to himself, "Roar!" The moonlight became even more hazy. There were shocking roars of fierce beasts that shook the sky. As the moonlight in the sky became brighter, the evil spirits in this mountain range also became more active. They were originally slowly approaching Lin Tian and the others, but now they were running and chasing after them. For a moment, the ground shook. There was a dark, demonic mist surging and gray, demonic light intertwining. A large amount of sand and dust sputtered from the ground. Lin Tian was moved, and he immediately sped up. Bai Ziki and Bai Qiu had powerful cultivation, so their speed was naturally not bad. They followed behind him steadily. Soon, they finally came to the depths of this mountain range and appeared in front of the mine. Standing in front of the mine at a close distance, they saw that there was a dark mist in the cave, as if it was a demonic realm. At this time, they stood at the entrance of the mine as if their minds were about to be swallowed by the mine. What a demonic place. It makes Lord Crocodile's heart palpitate. Whooshing Crocodile muttered. After all, it had reached the peak of Nirvana realm and had seen a lot. However, at this moment, facing the mine, it felt a chill down its spine. Roar! In the distance, the 5-meter-tall demonic shadow and other evil spirits had approached and stopped at a position hundreds of feet away from the mine. Although they stared at Lin Tian and the others and roared, they did not dare to come closer. Obviously, they were afraid of the mine. Such a scene made Bai Ziki frown. The actions of these evil spirits undoubtedly made the mine even more terrifying. Let's go. This is the only way now. Lin Tiandao. After saying that, he walked into the mine first. Bai Ziki and Bai Chio naturally did not hesitate and followed in. As soon as they entered the mine, the three people and the crocodile suddenly felt a tremor in their hearts. They only felt a chill down their spine. This is really not a place for crocodiles to come. If we don't find the divine object in here, if we don't find a way out, we are really sorry for crocodiles. Wuxing Crocodile said. The three of them didn't pay any attention to it. They were all looking around vigilantly. The space in this mine was very large. There were red stones and sand everywhere. At the same time, there was a faint black mist floating in the air, giving people a gloomy feeling. It was as if they were really walking in the underworld. The dragon patterns on Lin Tian's feet flickered. Strands of dragon patterns sank into the ground and extended in all directions to explore the direction of the mine. They walked in the mine and walked deeper into the mine. From time to time, the sound of their own footsteps could be heard from both sides. Kid, have you found a way out? Wuxing Crocodile asked. Lin Tian walked forward. While exploring the path with the dragon patterns, he said, Do you think this is like picking up stones and you can find it as soon as you come in? Wuxing Crocodile pursed its lips and did not say anything. Not only was the mine vast, but there were also many forks. The deeper they went, the colder the air became. Da-ba! 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 The three of them walked in the mine. Their footsteps kept echoing in the air. Speaking of which, kid, why are the footsteps echoing out getting weirder and weirder? It seems like there are a few more people. Wuxing Crocodile said, I think so too. Bai Chio muttered. The next moment, a faint light flickered from her body. She suddenly turned her head and looked behind her. About 10 feet away from them, 5 figures were following behind them. Their faces were as white as paper, without the slightest trace of blood. It was 5 corpses. Immediately, Bai Chio reminded them loudly, causing Lin Tian and the others to look back. Then their expressions changed. There were 5 corpses following behind them, but they did not notice. It's them. The corpses I saw outside were them, Bai Chio said. The 5 corpses stood side by side. The clothes on their bodies were very ancient. One of the old corpses grinned at the 3 of them and the crocodile. Suddenly, blood gushed out from its mouth, making it look 10 times more terrifying. Damn, you're already dead and you're still vomiting blood. Do you have to scare me like that? Wuxing Crocodile cursed. The 5 corpses did not roar. They continued to move and pounce toward the 3 of them and the crocodile. There was no terrifying Yin-Chi or shocking ghost fog, but there was an extremely terrifying aura pressing toward them. Let's go. Lin Tian made a prompt decision. These 5 old corpses were even more terrifying than the 3 ghosts he had encountered in the underground space. If these 5 corpses were to work together, they would definitely not be a match for them if they did not rely on external objects to fight head-on. Therefore, the wisest choice was to stay away from them. For a moment, the 3 of them rushed forward together with the sound of something breaking through the air. Behind them, the 5 old corpses chased after them. They were not slow either. Their faces were as white as snow, and there was no change in their expressions. They were very stiff. However, it was precisely because of this that they were even more terrifying and terrifying. Kid, hurry up, Wuxing Crocodile urged. Lin Tian stepped forward while paying attention to his back. The distance between them and the 5 old corpses was getting closer. He gritted his teeth slightly. A light flickered between his eyebrows. He directly propped up the yin-yang lotus sea and faced the 5 old corpses head-on. Clang! The black and white lotus sword vibrated and clanged, slashing at the 5 old corpses like a divine sword. He naturally did not think that this could kill or heavily injure the 5 old corpses. He only wanted to use this to disrupt them and slow them down a bit to increase the distance between them. Bai Ziki's expression was calm. He clearly knew why Lin Tian did this. Lightning flickered on the surface of his body, and several streaks of lightning struck behind him. He had the Thunder God physique, and the Thunder Origin power also had a restraining effect on demons and evil. I'm coming too, Bai Chio said. A ring of dim light rushed out from her body. It was gentle but not cold, and attacked the 5 old corpses. The 3 divine powers could be said to have a great restraining effect on demons and evil, especially by Chio's power. After cultivating to the 5th layer of the immortal realm, her lunar origin was even brighter. She was also more proficient in controlling it. This caused the 5 old corpses to pause for a moment. This pause was naturally very precious to Lin Tian and the other 2 powerhouses. In the blink of an eye, the 3 of them and the crocodile had rushed far away. "Stop!" Lin Tian suddenly said. At the same time, he pulled Bai Qiu back. The whooshing crocodile spoke very quickly. "What's the matter, kid? There's a monster chasing after us. Why are you stopping?" Lin Tian did not say much. He picked up a rock and threw it forward. Poochie! With a sizzling sound, the stone landed in front of him. The originally empty air was suddenly filled with dense, killing lights, directly shattering the stone. F*CK. What the F*CK? What's going on? The whooshing crocodile stared. It was not only it. Even Bai Ziki and Bai Qiu were shocked. They were all moved. If not for Lin Tian's warning, they would definitely be instantly shattered like that rock if they rushed over directly. The gathering of the malevolent aura of the earth veins has formed a great killing trap here. As long as something gets close to it, the peerless killing light nurtured underground will immediately rush up. Even great Dao powerhouses will find it difficult to resist and will be instantly killed. Lin Tian said in a low voice. "Then what should we do? There's a great killing trap in front of us, and there are 5 corpses behind us. Are we going to be caught in the middle?" The whooshing crocodile was slightly anxious. Chapter 752. The killing formation was right in front of them, and they couldn't cross it. However, there were still 5 terrifying corpses chasing after them. Not to mention the 5 elements crocodile. Even the usually calm Bai Ziki couldn't help but frown. "I'll open a path. You guys look behind you," Lin Tian said. The whooshing crocodile was puzzled. "Open a path? This is a killing formation. How are you going to open it?" "Buzz!" The space shook as Lin Tian took a step forward. Dense dragon patterns flickered, no longer extending from the soles of his feet to the ground. At the same time, they also spread above the ground, spreading in all directions like a spider web. At this moment, he fully activated the dragon burial scripture, entering the killing formation with the dragon patterns, forcibly changing the direction of the earth veins in the killing formation. He wanted to temporarily open a path to continue moving forward. Seeing this light, both Bai Ziki and Bai Qiu were shocked. The whooshing crocodile's eyes widened in an instant. Why does this look like the dragon patterns recorded in the ancient books? It looks like the supreme secret technique of the celestial venerable dragon burial scripture. As it spoke, it opened its mouth wide. F*CK brat, you said that you dabbled in some things related to the momentum of heaven and earth. Could it be that you're cultivating the dragon burial scripture? The celestial venerable dragon burial scripture was known to be able to bury the momentum of heaven and earth. When cultivated to the extreme, it could even bury the ancestral dragon's vein. The whooshing crocodile had once reached the peak of nirvana and read many ancient books, so it naturally knew about the dragon burial scripture. Previously, in the underground space, Lin Tian had also relied on the dragon burial scripture to kill the powerhouses of the Bone Clan and the Stone God Clan, burying 3 divine ghosts. However, at that time, the dragon patterns were underground, so it didn't see them. At this time, when Lin Tian used the dragon patterns to spread above the ground, it saw these dragon patterns and guessed that Lin Tian had cultivated the dragon burial scripture divine technique. The celestial venerable dragon burial scriptures technique? Bai Qiu stared. Even Bai Ziki was surprised. His eyes fell on Lin Tian. Each of the 9 celestial venerables was known as the strongest cultivators in the history of cultivation in the 10 Directions celestial domain. With a raise of their hand, they could suppress the entire world. Lin Tian actually mastered the divine technique of one of the 9 celestial venerables, Celestial Venerables Zonglong. Right at this moment, An oppressive aura gushed out from behind them. It was as though a river of hell had appeared, causing Bai Ziki, Bai Chiu, and the five elements alligator to be startled. They turned their gazes behind them. Without even thinking, they knew that the five corpses were chasing after them. "Kid, hurry up and fall," Whooshing Crocodile hurriedly urged him. At this time, he had no time to be surprised. Lin Tian naturally sensed that the five corpses were closing in on him. He raised both of his hands and made a series of hand seals at lightning speed. Streaks of dragon-marked divine seals swept out horizontally. It was as if a dense stream of light was rushing forward. "Done!" A divine light flashed in his eyes as he took the lead and charged forward. F***CK. "Kid, why don't you test it first before charging?" Whooshing Crocodile was lying on top of Lin Tian's head. It instantly felt a chill down its spine. Just now, it saw with its own eyes how Lin Tian crushed the stone in front of them in an instant. Although it guessed that Lin Tian had mastered the dragon burial scripture and had absolute authority on the path of ominous situations of heaven and earth, it was naturally not confident that he would charge forward without testing it first. But fortunately, after Lin Tian rushed forward, nothing happened to him at all. "You scared this grandpa crocodile to death." Whooshing Crocodile let out a long sigh of relief. Bai Ziki and Bai Chiu followed behind Lin Tian without saying a word. They were very fast. "Kid, how long can the path you opened through the ominous situation of heaven and earth last?" Whooshing Crocodile asked Lin Tian. After all, there were five corpses chasing behind them. They couldn't leave the path to them. "It's already broken." Lin Tian on Dao. Whooshing Crocodile nodded. "That's good." Almost as soon as it finished speaking, there was a rumble behind them. The five corpses chased after them and directly rushed into the ominous situation of heaven and earth. They drew out rays of killing light that were like the sonorous sound of sword chi. They were densely packed. However, this kind of killing light did not cut the five corpses into pieces. Although it cut out streaks of black blood, it did not make them fall. They stepped forward in the ominous situation of heaven and earth. Pieces of flesh flew everywhere, and black blood splattered everywhere. They crossed the ominous situation of heaven and earth step by step. Damn it, these corpses' ghostly bodies are actually so strong. They're more than twice as strong as the divine ghosts. Whooshing Crocodile cursed. "So fierce." Bai Chiu shrunk his neck. Lin Tian looked back. The light of the dragon patterns intertwined under his feet, searching for the direction of the ley lines. "Don't worry about them. They might not be annihilated after entering the ominous situation of heaven and earth, but it will take a long time for them to completely cross it. Let's stay away from them now," he said. As he spoke, he sped up and led the way. Bai Ziki and Bai Chiu nodded. They no longer cared about the five corpses behind them. They followed Lin Tian and moved forward quickly. As they moved forward, the air in the mine became a little colder. From time to time, there would be some cold water droplets falling from above. The terrain also became a little complicated. The three people and one crocodile traveled in the mine. Along the way, they encountered several ominous situations of heaven and earth, but they were all broken by Lin Tian. Bai Ziki, Bai Chiu, and Whooshing Crocodile also learned from Lin Tian that Lin Tian had indeed mastered the secret technique of celestial venerable Jinlong. "Kid, you still haven't found the way out?" Whooshing Crocodile asked. "What's the hurry? It's not that fast." Lin Tian on Dao. He had been exploring the surroundings with the dragon mark, but unfortunately, he didn't gain much. Whooshing Crocodile curled its lips and looked around, but it didn't say anything. Lin Tian explored this mine with the dragon mark, walking at the forefront. His footsteps were sometimes slow and sometimes fast. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 hours passed. "Kid, why does Grandpa Crocodile feel that we are going underground now?" Whooshing Crocodile suddenly said. Bai Chiu nodded. "I think so too." Bai Ziki didn't say anything. He just looked at Lin Tian, obviously having the same feeling. "I am using the dragon mark to find the way and explore the direction of the ominous situation of heaven and earth." Although I haven't found the way out yet, following the dragon mark will not be wrong. He said. The dragon burial scripture was created by celestial, venerable Zhongqi. He believed that there was no mistake. Hearing what he said, Wuxing Crocodile nodded. It wouldn't doubt the ancient celestial venerable. Time passed quickly, and soon another 3 hours passed. At this time, the 3 people and 1 crocodile walked for a long time. Suddenly, a gap about 1 meter wide and 10 meters high appeared in front of them. There seemed to be a small space inside, and there were traces of light spreading out through the gap. The dragon mark points to the gap. Lin Tian. He didn't hesitate. His footsteps were faster, and he stepped into the gap in the blink of an eye. Bai Ziki and Bai Chiu followed him and stepped in. Here, as far as the eye could see, there was a huge karst cave behind the gap. It was so big that it was unimaginable. The inside gave people a warm feeling, and the spiritual energy was very abundant. It formed a sharp contrast with the cold environment outside the gap. It's really strange, Wuxing Crocodile muttered. Lin Tian's eyes intertwined with the dragon mark light as he looked around. Suddenly, his face changed, and he looked up at the sky above. Above him, about 15 meters above his head, a light sphere with a diameter of 1 meter was floating quietly. It was emitting wisps of hazy halos, as if it was a star, dazzling the eyes of those who saw it. Instantly, his face changed color, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Bai Ziki, Bai Chiu, and Wuxing Crocodile naturally noticed his strange behavior. They immediately followed his gaze. Then, the expressions of the 3 people and 1 crocodile changed drastically. They were all attracted by the light sphere about 1 meter in diameter. Divine item. It's definitely a divine item that will shock the world. Wuxing Crocodile almost drooled. It rushed up from Lin Tian's head without hesitation and grabbed at the light sphere. Lin Tian raised his hand and pulled it back. Kid, why are you pulling Grandpa Crocodile? Take it back and we'll share it equally. It won't be a problem for us to enter the great virtue realm. Wuxing Crocodile shouted. This light sphere about 1 meter in diameter was too extraordinary. It made an old monster like it, who had once reached the peak of the Nirvana realm, tremble. It was like a lecherous man who had seen a naked beauty. Lin Tianyi pulled it back and said in a low voice, Don't touch it if you don't want to die. Staring at the light sphere, he felt a chill run down his spine. Kid, what are you talking about? This is a divine item. What do you mean don't touch it if you don't want to die? Is it poisonous? Wuxing Crocodile said. It flapped its wings, still looking like it wanted to rush over. The creation treasure land, the 9 mountain ranges, have already formed the 9 dragons playing with Pearl's immortal force. This light sphere is a dragon pearl that has taken the creation of heaven and earth and condensed the core of this immortal force. He said in a low voice, Condense the core of this immortal force? Wuxing Crocodile's eyes lit up. Isn't that great? Bai Ziki and Bai Chiu looked at Lin Tian. According to Lin Tian, this dragon pearl could be said to be a world-shaking divine item. But from the looks of it, Lin Tian's expression was incomparably fearful. What's so great about it? You'd better behave yourself. Lin Tian directly slapped Wuxing Crocodile, who wanted to grab the dragon pearl again, and said, 9 dragons playing with pearls. If the 9 mountain ranges are 9 dragons, where should this dragon pearl be? Normally, it should be in the middle of the 9 mountains. It shouldn't be in any of the mountains. But now, this dragon pearl is in this mountain. Think about it. What's going on? Don't you think it's strange? A mountain is a mountain. You even said that it's a dragon. Of course it's strange. Wuxing Crocodile curled its lips. Lin Tian raised his hand and slapped it again. The creation treasure land evolved the 9 dragons, playing with Pearl's immortal force. It's already heaven-defying and extremely dangerous. Now, the dragon pearl has shifted, making this immortal force even more terrifying. Almost all the dangerous forces have condensed in this place, forming an eternal killing trap. Now that dragon pearl is where the killing intent is. Unless a chaotic realm expert comes in person, anyone who touches it will die. he said in a low voice. Whooshing Crocodile stared. Kid, aren't you exaggerating? Do you have to scare me like that? Chapter 753. Hearing Lin Tian's words, Bai Ziki and Bai Chio's expressions changed, while the whooshing crocodile's eyes were still wide open. This means that we can only look at it but not eat it, the whooshing crocodile said angrily. Don't touch it, Lin Tian warned again. The dragon pearl was indeed a heaven-defying divine object. If they obtained it and divided it among the three of them and the crocodile, everyone would be able to step into the great Tao realm. Moreover, there would be other shocking gains. But now, such a divine object was not something that small cultivators like them could digest. Once they touched it, they would immediately attract the merciless attack of the eternal killing trap. Lord Crocodile is not satisfied. The whooshing crocodile stared at the dragon pearl. Bai Chio stared at it. Little crocodile, don't move. The whooshing crocodile was even angrier. Little girl, you're deliberately trying to anger your Lord Crocodile to death. I told you not to call me a little crocodile. Bai Chio snorted and ignored it. Where's the way out? Have you found it? Bai Ziki had always been very calm. At this time, he asked Lin Tian. Lin Tian nodded. Found it. He pointed to the ground of the karst cave and said, the dragon pearl has moved. Naturally, it came from underground. In this place, the exit is under the karst cave. There must be a passage leading to the outside. You mean we should break the ground here and find the way out? Bai Chio asked. That's right. Let's do it now, Lin Tian said to Bai Ziki and Bai Chio. Remember to control your divine power carefully when you attack to avoid other unforeseen circumstances. As he said that, his expression suddenly changed again. He turned his head to look at the gap that they had walked in from. At this time, three strange creatures appeared silently. They had a human head, wind feathers, and a dragon tail. All of them emitted extremely powerful auras. They were at least 10 feet tall and stared at the three people and the crocodile numbly and emotionlessly. The whooshing crocodile was shocked. Sensing the strength of the three strange creatures, its eyes narrowed. It should be the guardian spirit of the dragon pearl, Bai Ziki said. Lin Tian nodded and said, Indeed. His complexion became even more dignified. This place is far more dangerous than I thought. Not only does the eternal killing array surround the dragon bead, but there are also guardian spirits. These three life forms are terrifying. Almost as soon as his words left his mouth, the three guardian creatures let out a low roar and attacked at the same time. With a rumble, the space trembled slightly, and an extremely terrifying force intertwined. Be careful, Lin Tiandao. Facing these three guardian spirits, he did not hold back. He directly pushed up the yin-yang lotus sea and pressed it forward. The yin-yang lotus sea intertwined with black and white yin-yang light. It was like the primordial yin-yang qi. It was shockingly powerful. Bai Ziki's body intertwined with lightning as the tyrannical might of the thunder god surged. With a punch, a large patch of lightning appeared and struck towards the three guardian spirits. Buzz! Bai Chio stepped forward. The lunar origin glowed, and a circle of dark light swept out, pressing forward like water ripples. However, the three guardian spirits were too strong. Even though the three of them all had king bodies, and their battle prowess was peerless among their peers, they were still forced back in the instant of the collision. Because Lin Tian and Bai Ziki were at the very front, they both coughed out a mouthful of blood. Bai Chio's expression changed. Are you all okay? I'm fine. Lin Tian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Bai Ziki shook his head, indicating that Bai Chio did not need to worry. He raised his hand and released an even more powerful divine light of thunder, attacking forward. Lin Tian summoned his immortal sword and performed the towering heaven sword scripture with all his might. The sword light slashed straight at the three guardian spirits. Lord Crocodile is here too. Whooshing Crocodile leaped from Lin Tian's head. Its demon body expanded to 3 feet, and the 5-colored wings on its back flapped, releasing a large patch of murderous light. Now, it had entered the connecting immortal realm again. It was the second time it had reached the connecting immortal realm, so its combat power was naturally very strong. The three guardian spirits' eyes were emotionless. Their attacks seemed slow, but they were very sharp, tearing apart all the murderous light. Damn it, it's so powerful! Whooshing Crocodile cursed. Baiziki took a step forward, and the power of thunder surged. At this moment, he propped up a black iron seal. Immediately, a tyrannical Tao might surged out, and a seal radiance appeared, pressing down on the three guardian spirits in a mighty manner. High-grade Tao weapon. Lin Tian's eyes moved. Bai Qiu said, "Previously, my brother and I accidentally entered an ancient ruin. This black iron seal was obtained from that ancient ruin, as well as some other treasures. In addition, there are also a few extremely powerful secret techniques." Lin Tian understood. He had once inquired about Baiziki and Bai Qiu's whereabouts from the clairvoyant. At that time, the clairvoyant said that the siblings had great luck. Now that he thought about it, it should be the so-called ancient relic. He took a deep breath, and a light flashed around him. He summoned the divine fire cauldron, and at the same time, he propped up the Tao weapon stone plate that he had taken from the Stone God clan saint. High-grade Tao weapon? 2. Bai Qiu stared. My brother and I entered that ancient relic and narrowly escaped death to find a high-grade Tao weapon. You have 2? Where did you get them? Not only her, but Baiziki's eyes also flashed with some light. Just luck. Lin Tian smiled. He drew out the divine fire cauldron and gave it to Bai Qiu to protect herself. He propped up the Tao weapon stone plate and attacked the three guardian spirits with Baiziki. Watch Lord Crocodile. Whooshing Crocodile shouted and propped up a treasured pot. It was also a high-grade Tao weapon that he had used to withstand the immortal Ascension tribulation. In an instant, 4 high-grade Tao weapons swept through, finally giving the 3 of them and the crocodile some confidence. Although they were still at a disadvantage when facing the 3 powerful guardian spirits, the situation had more or less taken a turn for the better. Boom! At this moment, a vibration came from the gap, and then it was shattered by a strong force. Qi surged, and the 5 old corpses stepped in one after another. There was no color on their faces, and they looked very horrifying. Damn, these 5 idiots, they actually chased us here. Whooshing Crocodile's expression changed immediately. Lin Tian and the other 2 were also moved, and their faces darkened. It was also at this moment that one of the 3 guardian spirits stepped forward and attacked the 5 corpses. At this moment, the 5 corpses interweaved with shocking Qi and met it together. It seemed that they only knew how to kill. They were not just chasing the 3 of them and the crocodile, but also the guardian spirits here. Boom! 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 In an instant, the scene here became chaotic, and the 3 guardian spirits were restrained by the 5 corpses. These 5 idiots have become our saviors. Whooshing Crocodile stared. Even Baiziki and Bai Qiu revealed strange expressions, and they were slightly stunned by this scene. This is a good thing. You guys help me protect the surroundings, and I will open the path. Lin Tian on Dao. Baiziki, Bai Qiu, and Whooshing Crocodile nodded, and each stood in a corner, protecting Lin Tian behind them. Lin Tian did not hesitate. The dragon pattern on the soles of his feet flickered, and he quickly disappeared into the ground. He squatted down and formed a seal with his right hand. The dragon pattern gathered shattered light and stuck to the ground of the karst cave, slowly and carefully breaking the ground one by one. Boom! 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 In this karst cave, it was now a battle between the 3 guardian spirits and the 5 corpses. Demonic light and corpse chi crisscrossed each other. After an unknown period of time, with a poof, a guardian spirit was torn apart, and blood instantly dyed the ground red. Damn, these 5 idiots are so powerful. Whooshing Crocodile stared. So fierce. Bai Qiu shrunk his neck. The 3 guardian spirits were very powerful, but he did not expect the 5 corpses to be no weaker. They were like 5 Nirvana ghost saints. Roar! 2 guardian spirits roared, and flames surged, drowning one of the corpses, burning it to ashes in an instant. Such a scene made Whooshing Crocodile suck in a breath of cold air, and even Zeki's expression changed slightly. Luckily, the three guardian spirits did not spit out flames earlier. Even a high-grade Dao weapon might not be able to withstand such flames. The five elements crocodile felt a chill run down his spine. He then looked behind him and urged, "Kid, are you done? Hurry up!" In front of him, two guardian spirits were fighting four corpses. Flames intertwined, and corpse chi surged. It was indeed a little terrifying. Lin Tian did not say anything, but the dragon patterns he activated became even more shocking. They were densely packed and crazily spread underground. At the same time, the light of the dragon patterns on his right hand, which was pressed against the ground of the karst cave, became several times stronger. Finally, a light crack was heard. His right hand was pressed against the ground, and the surface of the ground shattered, revealing a cave with a diameter of about 10 feet, which connected to the outside. The cave was dark, and he could only see about 10 feet in front of him. Done. A ray of light flashed in his eyes, and he said to Zeki, Chio, and Whooshing Crocodile behind him, "Let's go." Immediately, he was the first to enter the cave. Whooshing Crocodile shrunk its monster body, rushed in quickly, and lay on top of his head. At this time, the two guardian spirits and the four corpses were fighting, completely ignoring their group. Lin Tian ignored it and said to Chio and Zeki, "Come down quickly. Brother, let's go." Chio stepped forward and entered the cave. Zeki was the last to enter. At the same time, he waved his hand and destroyed the cave entrance. In an instant, the cave became even darker. Dragon Ball! Divine item! Grandpa Crocodile is not satisfied. The five elements crocodile wailed and asked Lin Tian, "Speaking of which, kid, those few fierce corpses are very terrifying. If those few guardian spirits can't block them, then the dragon pearl wouldn't be snatched away by them, right? Don't think too much. Didn't I say before? Unless it's a chaotic realm expert, whoever touches the Dragon Ball will die," Lin Tian said. "When I master the dragon burial scripture, maybe I can come here and try to take it. Then hurry up and cultivate the dragon burial scripture and get the Dragon Ball as soon as possible," Whooshing Crocodile said. Lin Tian ignored it. Dragon patterns intertwined and explored the path ahead. In the beginning, the cave led straight down, but it soon became parallel, with only a slight curve. Lin Tian walked at the front. After more than 2 hours, he suddenly stopped and looked straight ahead. There, more than 3 feet away, a ball of treasure light lay quietly. It was about the size of a fist, intertwined with internal spiritual energy. At the same time, there was a strong wave of great Tao lingering around it, illuminating a large area of the surrounding space. This is a fragment of the Dragon Ball? Chapter 754. The treasure light was only the size of a fist, but the spiritual energy contained within it and the intertwined waves of the great Tao were extremely shocking. Lin Tian was immediately moved. Whooshing Crocodile, Chio, and Zeki all looked surprised. "It has the same aura as the Dragon Pearl." Whooshing Crocodile's eyes lit up. Lin Tian raised his hand and directly grabbed the treasure light. "Dragon Pearl Fragment," he said, holding the Dragon Pearl Fragment. He only felt comfortable all over. The tiredness caused by the battle and using the dragon patterns to find the way disappeared in an instant. His whole person was indescribably relaxed. "Dragon Pearl Fragment?" Chio blinked and asked curiously, "That Dragon Pearl has been broken before? Maybe it was broken in the process of shifting. In short, this is a good thing." Lin Tiandao. He did not expect that a Dragon Pearl Fragment the size of a fist would actually drop in this place. This was simply the feeling of picking up a treasure at night. It was just a Dragon Pearl Fragment, so there would not be any great danger here. However, such a fist-sized Dragon Pearl Fragment was extremely valuable. It could be said to be a treasure among treasures. "Let's go out and refine it," he said. Immediately, he continued to move forward, still using the dragon patterns to find the way. Soon, 3 hours passed. At this moment, Lin Tian was in front, walking to the end of the cave. There's no way out? Whooshing Crocodile stared ahead. Lin Tiandao said, "This means that we have already walked out of the range of that mountain." He condensed a light sword of divine power in his hand, shining with golden light, and slashed directly above his head. With a loud bang, the layer of soil collapsed. It was not very thick, and in an instant, light shone down. "Let's go," he said to Bai Qiu and Bai Ziki, then jumped out of the cave into the air. Bai Qiu and Bai Ziki also jumped up one after another, and soon they were out of the range of the cave. There were plants growing all around. They weren't very dense, but they weren't too sparse either. Instead, there was quite a bit of spirit energy intertwined all around. It was very similar to the spirit energy of the Dragon Ball in the Karst cave from before, but it was countless times weaker. We have already walked out of the previous mountain range. This place should be the center of the 9 mountain ranges. Lin Tiandao. He waved his hand and slashed out a sword light, breaking the surface layer of soil, and sealed the cave that they had just opened. The sky was not blue, and there was a hazy mist floating in the air. However, the atmosphere was no longer as gloomy and cold as that in the mine. It was more normal. Whooshing Crocodile breathed a sigh of relief. Bai Ziki looked at Lin Tian and said indifferently, "After not seeing you for a few years, you have become more and more accomplished." Lin Tiandao glanced at Bai Ziki. "You're not bad either." Bai Ziki snorted coldly and said nothing. Bai Qiu glanced at her brother, then glanced at Lin Tianyi and curled her lips. "Brother-in-law and brother-in-law, don't talk nonsense. Brat Lin, hurry up and find a place to refine the Dragon Pearl fragment. This Grandpa Crocodile wants to climb to a higher level." Whooshing Crocodile roared. As for the brother-in-law and brother-in-law that it mentioned, no one said anything. Only Bai Qiu blushed slightly, while Bai Ziki glanced at it indifferently. Lin Tiandao glanced around. Although the environment of this place was not too good, it was not bad either. There were no beasts around. He looked at a few slightly larger old trees. They were surrounded by greenery and could be considered a good place. "Let's go there and refine," he said. Immediately, he was the first to walk toward that place. Coming to a few plants, he took out the fist-sized dragon pearl fragment and squared it on the ground. It exuded a sparkling luster, and at the same time, it was intertwined with waves of Tao. "Let's refine it together." Lin Tiandao. Whooshing Crocodile was already impatient. It jumped directly from Lin Tiandao's head and came to the side of the dragon pearl fragment. Its eyes were shining as if it wanted to swallow the dragon pearl fragment in one bite. "I don't need it," Bai Ziki said. Whooshing Crocodile raised its head. "Brother-in-law, why are you being so polite with your brother-in-law?" Bai Ziki glanced at it, then turned his head away. Bai Qiu explained, "Brother has recently been cultivating a very powerful magical technique. It is the secret technique obtained in the ancient ruins. It is not suitable for him to rashly improve his realm for the time being. I estimate that he will be able to truly master it in 2 months." Bai Ziki did not say anything and stood silently by the side. "I see." Lin Tian understood. When he was cultivating the second layer of the 4-symbol seal in the first heaven, it also took him a year. During that time, he didn't make any progress in his cultivation base. It's not that it's impossible, it's just that it interferes with his comprehension of the technique. Bai Ziki is obviously in the same situation. At the same time, a glint flashed in his eyes. It seemed that the magical technique Bai Ziki obtained in the ancient ruins was not simple. It must be very terrifying. "I will protect you," Bai Ziki said and walked to the side. Lin Tiandao nodded. Although it was calm here, he could not be sure that no ferocious beasts would suddenly appear. If ferocious beasts attacked while they were refining the Dragon Pearl fragment, it would obviously not be a good thing. Now, with Bai Ziki protecting them, he was even more at ease. After all, Bai Ziki was very powerful. Not many people below the Great Tao realm could do anything to him. "Let's begin," he said to Bai Qiu. Whooshing Crocodile roared and directly operated the beast Tao mental cultivation method to frantically absorb the Dragon Pearl fragment's spiritual energy. Bai Qiu also operated the Bai family's mental cultivation method and silently began to cultivate. Lin Tiandao took a deep breath and operated the Sun Heart Sutra. Faint golden light interweaved around his body, making him look somewhat sacred. He operated the Sun Heart Sutra and absorbed the Dragon Pearl fragment's spiritual energy. Like before, he used it to refine his divine power and strengthen his body. It had to be said that the spiritual energy contained within the Dragon Pearl fragment was too extraordinary. It was countless times stronger than the Genesis vein essence. As soon as it entered his body, his flesh and blood could not help but twitch. He was a little surprised, but his mind was still calm as he seriously cultivated. Buzz! Faint golden light interweaved around his body, and his aura rapidly rose. Then, almost at the same time, next to his life source, the little guy in the egg let out a joyful cry, awakened by the spiritual energy of the Dragon Pearl. As Lin Tianyi absorbed the spiritual energy, it let out a soft squeak. It was very happy. Lin Tianyi could hear such a sound, or rather, at this time, only he could hear it. He couldn't help but smile. Immediately afterward, he calmed himself down again. The spiritual energy of the Dragon Pearl fragment entered his body, helping him to refine his divine power and strengthen his body. The spiritual energy was very gentle, making his whole body feel warm. At the same time, not only did the Dragon Pearl fragment contain powerful spiritual energy, but there were also dense Tao fragments. These Tao fragments poured into his flesh and blood, causing his flesh and blood to become more crystal clear and his divine power to become more vigorous. Vaguely, he felt the same feeling he had when he was comprehending the great Tao of nature in the third heaven. He was shocked. He immediately calmed his heart and began to merge with these Tao fragments. At this time, he closed his eyes, but he also felt that the world around him seemed to have changed. Everything became clearer. The earth was more solid. The sky was brighter. The air was fresher. The sun was brighter, and the mountains were taller. There were many Tao fragments contained in the Dragon Pearl fragment, so he naturally felt more than one kind of Tao. The Tao of turbid earth, the Tao of void, the Tao of flowing clouds, and so on. Of course, this was only a form of comprehension, and it was impossible for him to control these grand Taos. However, the benefits of this were extremely huge. It could allow his body to become more compatible with the various grand Taos, allow his consciousness to become stronger, and allow his perception to become sharper. Buzz! The golden divine light around his body became peaceful. It became much fainter, but it became even more full and round. At the same time, not only him, but Wuxing Crocodile and Bai Qiu also had the same opportunity. Each of them gained a lot of benefits. Time flew by quickly. In the blink of an eye, another 2 hours passed. Boom! A strong wind blew. Wuxing Crocodile stepped all the way from the early stage to the third heaven of the Ascension Immortal Realm. Its eyes were full of powerful demonic light. Awesome! It howled. In the distance, a stone flew over and landed on its head. Bai Ziki glanced at it indifferently. Be quiet. Wuxing Crocodile rolled its eyes, but it knew that this might affect Lin Tian and Bai Qiu's cultivation, so it immediately quieted down. Soon, another 15 minutes passed. With a buzz, a faint light appeared outside Bai Qiu's body. He stepped into the sixth heaven of the Ascension Immortal Realm and looked more holy. This aura, why does it feel like the fluctuation of the moon? Wuxing Crocodile muttered. However, it didn't think too much about it and looked at Lin Tian. Bai Qiu blinked and looked at Bai Ziki. His gaze also fell on Lin Tian. Golden light lingered outside Lin Tian's body. He was still cultivating. At this time, the fist-sized Dragon Ball fragment had shrunk to the size of a thumb. Time passed, and another 15 minutes passed. The last thumb-sized Dragon Ball fragment was completely consumed. At this time, a powerful force rushed out of Lin Tian's body like a hurricane. It was very shocking. After a while, the hurricane calmed down. Lin Tian opened his eyes and clenched his fists. A bright light flashed across his eyes. Seventh heaven of the Ascension, immortal realm. He muttered to himself. After stepping into the seventh heaven of the connecting immortal realm, he could feel that his divine power had become more vigorous, and his physique had also become more solid. Because of the existence of the great Tao fragment in the Dragon Ball fragment, his divine sense had also become several times stronger, and his battle prowess had increased by a large margin. He looked at Wuxing Crocodile and Bai Qiu. Their cultivation levels had also increased, and the aura they emitted had become stronger. We've found them, and our cultivation levels have also increased. This trip was not in vain. Wuxing Crocodile shrunk its body and lay on Lin Tian's head again. It said leisurely, "Kid, you can go out now." Lin Tian looked at Bai Qiu and Bai Ziki. "Let's go. There are all kinds of traps in the 9 mountains. It's not easy to get out. My brother and I have tried many times, but we haven't succeeded." Bai Qiu frowned. Chapter 755. Seeing Bai Qiu frown, Lin Tian couldn't help but smile. "You couldn't get out before, but it won't be a problem now. Now, I'm here." In is an element of, Bai Qiu curled her lips and muttered, "How arrogant." Although she said that, she also knew that Lin Tian had mastered the Dragon Burial Scripture and could be said to be the absolute authority in the world. Previously, he had walked out of the mountain where the mine was located, so he could definitely walk out of this place. Bai Ziki glanced at Lin Tian and didn't say anything. "Let's go," Lin Tian said with a smile. The 9 mountain ranges here were all very extraordinary. Even though many of the ominous forces had already condensed to the mountain range where the mine was located, many places were still incomplete. There were many dangers and puzzles. Therefore, after Bai Ziki and Bai Qiu stepped into this place, they couldn't get out even if they wanted to. However, now that Lin Tian was here, these dangers were not a problem. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the mouth of the no-return gorge. The mouth of the gorge was quite spacious. Looking from afar, a group of experts of the sea race were guarding outside. There were several experts of the immortal ascension realm among them, and the blood aura they exuded was very strong. Not long ago, someone approached here and killed all the people guarding here. They didn't even have time to send out the special signal flare to inform the experts of the clan. Until now, we still haven't found out who did it. Could it be the brother and sister who entered the gorge? Impossible, the brother and sister never came out. They must have died in there long ago. I've never heard of anyone who came out alive after entering the gorge. That's right, I really don't know what His Highness Saint and the Supreme Elders are thinking. Several cultivators of the sea race discussed in low voices. What are you muttering about? Be vigilant. At this place, the leading expert of the sea race coldly glanced at the cultivators of the sea race who were discussing, and then his gaze fell on another cultivator of the immortal ascension realm. Remember, if there are any strange movements in the future, immediately send out the special signal flare given by the elders. Remember? Yes. The Sea Clan cultivator at the peak of the flight realm, who was holding a special signal flare, said as he straightened his chest. The 3 people and the crocodile were still in the valley. They looked at the several sea race cultivators outside the valley and exchanged glances with each other. Kill the marine race cultivator with the special signal flare first. As for the other marine race cultivators, leave them for later. Lin Tiandao. Bai Ziki's eyes were filled with coldness. Naturally, there was no need for Lin Tian to say anything. Bai Qiu was panting with anger. It was the sea tribe that had forced them into this dangerous place. If not for Lin Tian finding the way, she and Bai Ziki would most likely have died here. Lin Tian stared outside. His eyes flickered with a glimmer of light, and he turned into a golden bolt of lightning. In the blink of an eye, he stepped out of the gorge of no return and arrived in front of the sea species cultivator, holding the special signal flare. The sea race cultivator was shocked. What are you, Pooh? Lin Tian raised his hand and directly smashed the sea species cultivator into pieces. At the same time, he also crushed the signal flare in his hand. Instantly, The other sea species cultivators' expressions changed. Who are you? Boom! Thunder rumbled. Baiziki arrived with endless lightning, causing this place to instantly turn into a sea of lightning. The might of such a violent thunderclap immediately caused the sea race cultivators to tremble. They were extremely frightened. Then, when they saw Baiziki's face and Baichio behind him, the sea species cultivators' expressions changed drastically. It's you! Staring at Baiziki and Baichio, this group of sea species cultivators was shocked and terrified. This pair of brother and sister actually walked out of the gorge of no return. Boom! Thunder rumbled and lightning flashed, causing the void to distort inch by inch. Baiziki's gaze was cold, and the light of lightning instantly drowned out the entire area. It was as if he had summoned a heavenly tribulation, instantly drowning out all the cultivators from the sea race. Pu. All of them were struck into pieces. Lin Tian was a little surprised. Baiziki's current power was really terrifying. That kind of lightning made him feel apprehensive. All the sea species cultivators here were killed. As far as the eye could see, there were old trees in front of them, and the air was much better than inside the gorge. The outside world is still the most comfortable. This is where crocodiles should be. The whooshing crocodile lay on top of Lin Tian's head, squinted its eyes, and stretched out a pair of front claws like a human. Then it said, "Brat Lin, that little bastard from the sea species wanted to steal your wife. You can't just let it go like this. You have to teach him a lesson." Hearing the word wife, Baichio blushed, but she didn't say anything. Baiziki also didn't say anything, and only glanced at the whooshing crocodile. Naturally, we can't just let it go like this. Lin Tianlong smiled and said, "Let's leave this place first. I'll prepare a big gift for them." Big gift? What kind of gift? The whooshing crocodile was a little surprised. You'll know in a bit. Lin Tiandao. The 3 people and 1 crocodile didn't stay here for long. They went far away from this place and appeared on another island. I'll carve a few killing formations here. Once I'm done, White Pig, pretend to be seriously injured and walk around the island. Lin Tian opened his mouth and said, "When I entered the Gorge of No Return to find you, I killed a group of sea tribe cultivators guarding the Gorge of No Return. Now that I've killed another group of sea tribe cultivators guarding the Gorge of No Return, the sea tribe will definitely be on guard. There should be many sea tribe cultivators patrolling the surroundings. You go and let those sea tribe cultivators discover your tracks." Baiziki's eyes immediately flashed with a wisp of light. He naturally understood Lin Tian's meaning and nodded. He purposely showed his tracks. When ordinary sea tribe cultivators saw him, they definitely wouldn't dare to directly confront him. After all, he had almost killed the sea tribe's holy son. Although the sea tribe's higher-ups wouldn't tell ordinary sea tribe cultivators that their holy son was almost killed by him, they would definitely warn ordinary sea tribe cultivators not to confront him directly. Therefore, after discovering his tracks, ordinary sea tribe cultivators definitely wouldn't directly attack him. They would definitely secretly return to report to the holy son and the sea tribe's holy son and the sea tribe's holy son and the sea tribe's powerful elders. After that, Lin Tian covered them with the killing formation. "Kid, you're really sinister. You're really like a little fox." Whooshing Crocodile naturally understood what Lin Tian was thinking. It immediately glared, but then it laughed. "But Lord Crocodile likes it." As it spoke, it opened its mouth again and said, "But kid, if your brother-in-law shows his tracks, he will definitely lure out the great virtue realm experts of the sea tribe. Can the killing formation you engrave trap and kill a great virtue realm expert? Can it be stronger than the killing formation in the underground palace? It can't be compared, but I can use quantity to close the distance." Lin Tiandao. The complete eternal killing formation was extremely terrifying. It was definitely stronger than the killing formation in the underground palace. Even an Emperor Realm expert could destroy it. However, his current cultivation was far from being able to engrave the complete eternal killing formation. He could only engrave a corner. However, this was strong enough. Here, he engraved the 10-sided eternal killing formation. It wouldn't be a problem to kill a third firmament Great Tao expert. At that moment, he didn't hesitate. He directly activated the Heavenly One Soul art and engraved the eternal formation pattern on this island. In an instant, a terrifying killing intent appeared along with the formation pattern he engraved. It shocked Bai Ziki, Bai Chiu, and Wuxing Crocodile. Wuxing Crocodile stared. Kid Lin, what kind of killing formation is this? It's just a strand of formation pattern, and it already has such killing intent. If the eternal killing formation was complete, even a Chaos Emperor Realm expert could easily destroy it. Lin Tiandao. The eternal killing formation was evolved by the Formation Emperor Heavenly Venerate with great success in the Formation Tao. It condensed the essence of the Formation Tao and was known as the supreme divine formation of the Formation Tao. In the 10-direction celestial domain, there was no formation that could compete with the eternal killing formation. Even an Emperor Realm expert can be killed. Kid, Lord Crocodile admits that the killing formation you engraved is extraordinary. However, can you be any more exaggerated? Wuxing Crocodile stared with a look of disbelief. Lin Tian glanced at Bai Ziki and said, I once used the fourth sky of the Zephyr Realm cultivation base and relied on the triangle immature eternal killing formation to wreak havoc in the Bai family. Even 6 elites at the peak of the connecting immortal realm couldn't do anything. Wuxing Crocodile stared with wide eyes and looked at Bai Ziki in surprise. Really? Fourth sky of the Zephyr realm and forced 6 old fellows at the peak of the connecting immortal realm to be helpless? Bai Ziki snorted coldly and didn't reply. Wuxing Crocodile knew that Lin Tian was telling the truth. It seems that this killing formation is indeed heaven-defying. As it spoke, it suddenly stared with wide eyes and laughed wildly. So, kid, you once went to your father-in-law's house to wreak havoc? Lord Crocodile is dying of laughter. Don't tell me that your father-in-law didn't agree to marry his precious daughter to you, and you want to kick his door in anger? Lin Tian stopped carving the killing formation and grabbed it from the top of his head. Bai Chiu angrily made a move and slapped it. Oh well. Wuxing Crocodile's miserable howl came from afar. Lin Tian couldn't be bothered with it and continued carving the killing formation. At the same time, he carefully controlled the killing formation's aura so that it didn't leak out. Now his cultivation base had reached the 7th sky of the connecting immortal realm. His divine power was vigorous and surging, and his soul power was much stronger. In just one day and night, he finished carving the 10 corners eternal killing formation and firmly imprinted it in the air of this island. Done! A ray of light flashed in his eyes. He tilted his head to look at Bai Ziki and said, White Pig, it's your turn. Bai Ziki stood up and activated his divine power. Blood gushed out of his mouth and dyed the clothes in front of his chest red. At the same time, the color on his face faded a lot. Only then did he stand up and walk out of the island. Do you want me to go with you? Bai Chiu asked. Lin Tian shook his head. There's no need. Your brother alone is enough. Bai Ziki didn't stay and directly left the island. Not long after, he walked out of the island. The Sea Race's experts guarding the Gorge of No Return were silently slaughtered twice. This attracted the Sea Race's attention. Just as Lin Tian expected, many Sea Race cultivators were sent out to patrol the surrounding islands from time to time. I wonder who did it. That's right. How bold. Don't talk about it. Patrol carefully and be vigilant. Not far from this island, 9 Sea Race cultivators walked on the surface of the sea and discussed softly. It was also at this time that one of the Sea Race cultivators turned his head and saw Bai Ziki, who was far away from the island. That is... It seems to be the human brother and sister who entered the Gorge of No Return. When did he come out? Chapter 756. The Sea Tribe cultivator who saw Bai Ziki was shocked. Then, the other Sea Tribe cultivators also saw Bai Ziki, and their expressions changed. In the field of vision of the oceanic species cultivators, Bai Ziki staggered with blood gushing out of his mouth. His complexion was pale, and he looked extremely terrible. He walked with great difficulty at the edge of the island, coughing up blood with every step. It's the man of the brother and sister. Yes, it's him. He looks exactly like the portrait given by the elders. He really walked out of the valley of no return. The expressions of the oceanic species cultivators all changed. He seems to be seriously injured. Go catch him. Don't go. The elders have ordered us not to fight him head-on. Once we find him, we have to report back to the tribe immediately. But no buts. I heard that he's very powerful. Ordinary people can't stop him. Stay here and keep watch. I'll go back to the tribe to report to the saint and elders. The leading sea tribe cultivator said. This sea tribe cultivator was at the third heaven of immortal ascension. After saying that, he didn't hesitate and quietly went back to the sea tribe. In the distance, outside the island, Baiziki saw this scene. He still staggered, coughing up blood with every step, and gradually walked into the island. Walking into the island, without the sea tribe cultivators seeing him, his pale face returned to normal. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and disappeared with every step. Soon, he appeared in the center of the island. How is it? Lin Tian asked. Baiziki nodded. It's done. Someone went to the sea tribe to report. Lin Tian's eyes flashed, and he smiled coldly. Now, we just have to wait for them to come. A dark light appeared in his eyes. Whooshing Crocodile lay on top of his head and said, Lord Crocodile is sharpening his knife. In the blink of an eye, several hours passed. At this time, the immortal transcending realm expert who discovered Baiziki's tracks had already returned to the Sea Tribe's headquarters. He came to the Sea Tribe's main hall and informed the Sea Tribe's holy son and several grand elders of his discovery of Baiziki's tracks. Are you sure? In the main hall, a grand elder of the sea race, who was at the second heaven of the great Tao, asked. Yes, the sea species cultivator who came back to report said. Then he seriously described the situation of Baiziki that he saw. The oceanic race's saint child was also beside him. He had the appearance of a human and was quite tall. A wisp of light flashed through his eyes. As expected, the human didn't die so easily. He really walked out alive. It seems that the clansmen guarding that place were killed by him. As he spoke, the light in the sea tribe's saint child's eyes became even more intense. His eyes were cold and filled with greed. Although he has walked out of the danger zone, he seems to have suffered heavy injuries. This is the time to suppress him. Since he has walked out, that human woman should have walked out as well. She must be on that island as well. As he spoke, he looked at the three great Tao realm experts of the sea race in the main hall and said, 3 elders, please help me. Of course. The 3 elders of the sea race nodded. Among the 3 of them, 2 were at the second heaven of the great Tao, and the other was at the third heaven of the great Tao. The one at the third heaven of the great Tao was the oceanic race expert who had pursued by Ziki and by Chiao and forced the siblings into the gorge of no return. Let's go. The third heaven of the great Tao realm, sea race elder said. Immediately, the 3 great Tao realm experts and the oceanic races, Saint Child walked out of the oceanic race's main hall in a mighty manner and soared into the distance. They were very fast. Soon, they arrived at the place where Baiziki was found. There were still a few oceanic race cultivators monitoring the island ahead. When they saw the Saint Child and the 3 grand elders of their clan, they all went forward to greet them. How is it? The Saint Child asked. The few oceanic race cultivators bowed and said, Saint Child, the human entered the island and didn't come out again. The Saint Child looked at the 3 elders of the oceanic race, and the latter 3 nodded. He should be recuperating inside. Go in and capture him. This time, he has no chance of escaping. The gazes of the 3 grand elders from the sea race were indifferent, with 3 great Tao realm experts pressuring them. Even though the human with the king physique they had discovered earlier was extraordinary, he could only be suppressed now. There was no possibility of him escaping. Immediately, a few ordinary oceanic race cultivators led the way in front. The 3 great Tao realm grand elders of the oceanic race and the saint child of the oceanic race walked behind them. Soon, they reached the island and walked all the way to the center of the island. This island wasn't big. In addition, this group of oceanic race cultivators was very fast. It didn't take long for them to reach the center of the island. They're finally here. A voice rang out. In the center of the island was an open space. On a large rock, Lin Tian, Bai Chio, and Bai Ziki stood side by side. Bai Ziki's gaze was very cold. He didn't hide his killing intent at all. Bai Chio stood beside him. Dim light surged and intertwined on the surface of his body. Lin Tian's expression was cold. The black hair on his forehead danced in the sea breeze. The whooshing crocodile lay on top of Lin Tian's head, narrowing his eyes slightly. The ordinary oceanic race cultivators were slightly shocked. Previously, they only saw Bai Ziki here. Moreover, he was vomiting blood. He seemed to be severely injured. However, looking at him now, Bai Ziki's chi and blood were as usual. They were astonishingly vigorous. He didn't look like he was severely injured at all. It had only been a few hours. He shouldn't have healed so quickly. Moreover, Lin Tian beside him suddenly made them look shocked. At this moment, their expressions changed abruptly. You are, at the same time, the great Tao powerhouses of the oceanic race, and the Holy Sun were also shocked. Looking at Lin Tian, they were all slightly shocked. The man in the recent rumors, the Ant Clan, the Blood Wolf Clan, the Dark Shadow Clan, the Bone Clan, the Witch Clan, the Stone God Clan, and several other major clans have been frantically hunting you down, but they couldn't find any trace of you. Yet, you actually came here. The eyes of the third heavenly layer great Tao powerhouse intertwined with a cold light. He glanced at Bai Ziki and his sister. What's the relationship between you two? Lin Tian had slaughtered all the young autarchs and holy sons of the various large clans. When they were in the underground space, the Grand Tao experts of the various large clans who had pursued Lin Tian had been completely slaughtered as well. This caused another huge commotion. During this period, several major clans have been frantically hunting Lin Tian. Lin Tian's fame has also spread throughout the fourth heaven. Only a few people didn't know him. At this time, the group of oceanic race cultivators recognized Lin Tian as the ruthless man in the recent rumors, and they all revealed looks of shock. Bai Ziki and Bai Chio were slightly shocked. They couldn't help but look at Lin Tian. Several major clans were hunting Lin Tian. Bai Chio opened his mouth, wanting to ask the reason, but he was interrupted by the third, heavenly layer, great Tao powerhouse on the spot. The oceanic race powerhouse looked at Lin Tian and said coldly and ruthlessly, "No matter what your relationship is, and no matter what tricks you have up your sleeves to lure us here, don't even think about leaving here alive today. In the end, this is the territory of my oceanic race." The oceanic race powerhouse heard from the reporting oceanic race cultivator that Bai Ziki was seriously injured, and now that he had rushed over, the scene was like this. These people were clearly waiting for them. The oceanic race powerhouse knew that there must be something fishy going on. Lin Tian and the others were plotting against them. But even so, what could they do? He was a dignified oceanic race. 3 great Tao powerhouses had come here. So how could he show weakness and fear? How could that be possible? Moreover, this was the territory of his oceanic race. In his own territory, what was he not worried about? Even if there were changes, the powerhouses of his clan would be able to detect it quickly and rush over. Staring at Bai Ziki, the oceanic race third heavenly layer, great Tao powerhouse's eyes were emotionless. He said coldly, "I will take your life source and not let it be damaged. In the future, the geniuses of my clan will be able to unleash even greater power and become famous in the 10 directions celestial domain." As his words fell, the oceanic race powerhouse looked at Lin Tian. Cold light intertwined in his eyes. "As for you now, your head is very valuable. If we take your head, the major clans will be grateful to our clan, and our clan will also be on good terms with the Stone Deity clan." "No. Now, there's no need to be on good terms with the Stone Deity clan." Speaking until here, The oceanic race powerhouse's gaze swept over by Zeke again. If we take his life source, the geniuses of our clan will be able to reach a higher level and have even more shocking achievements in the future. In time, even the Stone Deity clan will kneel at our feet. Saying these words, the oceanic race elder seemed to have already seen the glory of the oceanic race in the future. He couldn't help but laugh loudly. Bai Qiu was incomparably angry. Old fart, you forced me and my brother into a dead end, and you still dare to have such thoughts? Despicable. Lin Tian looked at the oceanic race powerhouse. Was it the other party who forced Bai Zeke and Bai Qiu into the gorge of no return, causing the siblings to be trapped there for a year and almost die? The coldness in Lin Tian's eyes intensified. This is the territory of my oceanic race. Everything here belongs to my oceanic race, including you who entered this place. The oceanic race's saint walked out with a cold and arrogant expression. He was at the peak of the 8th heavenly layer, and his strength was very tyrannical. Several years ago, he had already become famous in the 4th heaven, enough to be called a leader among his peers. Bai Zeke's eyes were cold, and lightning intertwined on the surface of his body, making a sizzling sound. He didn't hide his killing intent at all. Bastard! Bai Qiu cursed. Lin Tian stepped forward at this moment, his gaze falling on the oceanic race's saint who spoke. The oceanic race's saint? The oceanic race's saint looked at Lin Tian. Powerful, immortal light intertwined around his body, and his immortal pressure was astonishing. It's this king? Boom! Almost at the instant the oceanic race's saint's words fell, the island shook, and dense, eternal killing runes appeared, covering the entire island in the blink of an eye. The terrifying killing intent caused the sky here to change color. I'll kill you. Lin Tian's eyes were ruthless. With a thought, with a clang, the dense, eternal killing runes emitted endless killing light. In an instant, they arrived in front of the oceanic race's saint and directly slashed down. Ah! The oceanic race's saint screamed miserably. Half of his body was crushed on the spot. It was also at this time that Lin Tian really moved. He took a step forward, and like a golden lightning bolt, he appeared in front of the oceanic race's saint in an instant. He directly waved his golden fist and punched down fiercely. Boom! The void trembled and directly collapsed. Chapter 757. Blood splattered in the void. The oceanic tribe's saint was blasted apart by Lin Tian's punch. His corpse fell to the ground, and it was a ghastly sight. In an instant, all the cultivators from the oceanic tribe were stunned. Everything happened too quickly. It was only at the next moment that someone reacted. Their faces instantly turned deathly pale. As saint, an ordinary cultivator from the oceanic tribe was horrified. The saint of their tribe, a paragon of the same generation, had been killed just like that. Be asterisk starred. The 3 great Tao realm cultivators from the oceanic tribe roared furiously, and their eyes instantly turned red. A peerless genius that was hard to come by in thousands of years had actually been killed by Lin Tian's punch, just like that. Such a loss was really too great. Even Bai Zeke was moved by this scene. Lin Tian's punch was too powerful. However, his expression only changed for an instant. In the next moment, he tilted his head, and his gaze was cold as he stared at the 3rd heaven of the great Tao realm cultivator from the oceanic tribe. You stay here, he said to Bai Qiu. With a boom, lightning interweaved and circled around. He took a step forward, bringing along endless lightning with him. The 3 great Tao realm cultivators from the oceanic tribe were shocked and furious. They roared wildly. All of you must die. In an instant, 3 powerful Tao mites surged. The 3 great cultivators attacked at the same time, charging toward Bai Zeke. However, even more killing lights pressed down on Lin Tian. At this moment, they wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Tian apart. Lin Tianling smiled. Do you think my killing formation is just for decoration? Boom! As his words fell, the 10 corners eternal killing formation boiled. Killing lights interweaved, shaking the heavens. Pooh! 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 Under such violent killing intent, the ordinary cultivators from the oceanic tribe who had followed here could not withstand it at all. Under the dense killing lights, they directly exploded one by one. In just a few breaths' time, they had all turned into a bloody mist. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes widened. He's really strong. The expressions of the three great Tao realm experts from the sea tribe changed. Earlier, when the 10 Edges eternal killing formation was activated, it had already caused their hearts to tremble. And now, Lin Tian had activated the killing formation even more intensely. The killing intent was even more terrifying, causing the hearts of the three great experts to tremble even more. Even though they were extremely furious at this moment, they still felt a chill run down their backs, and a sense of unease rose up in them. Kill! Kill! Lin Tian and Bai Ziki shouted the word kill. The eternal killing light was in front, and the two of them were behind. Their divine might was overwhelming. When facing a great Tao realm expert, even though he was suppressed by the eternal killing formation, Lin Tian did not hold back. He immediately propped up the Yin-Yang Lotus Sea avatar and activated the High Heaven Sword scripture at the same time. The might of the avatar and the immortal sword light seemed to want to tear apart the world. Baiziki's body was intertwined with thunder and lightning, and a part of the sky was covered with thunderclouds behind him. Electric arcs were crackling, and it was also a vision in his sea of consciousness. At the same time, he propped up the Bai clan's great celestial king arcane art. His divine shadow was 30 meters tall, and it seemed like it was going to split open the sky. Even a great Tao realm expert would be moved by these two domineering battle prowess. The eternal killing light worked together with their powerful attacks, causing the three great Tao realm experts from the sea tribe to vomit blood and be sent flying. Lord Crocodile is coming too. Whooshing Crocodile leaped up from Lin Tian's head. Its demonic body was 30 meters long, and the 5-colored wings on its back flapped, sending out a violent hurricane. The hurricane was 5-colored, and it tore through the clouds and space, destroying everything in its path. Back then, it had reached the peak of the Nirvana realm. Now, after its cultivation level had fallen, it had returned to the third heaven of the immortal ascension realm. Its battle prowess was naturally not weak and was extremely powerful. The 5-colored hurricane could be said to be terrifying. The three great Tao realm experts from the sea tribe were once again in trouble. They were enveloped by the 5-colored hurricane, and their bodies were almost torn apart. You guys? The three great Tao realm experts were shocked and furious. They were great Tao realm experts, and they wouldn't care about the two of them and the crocodile in a head-on confrontation. But now, the eternal 10 Corners killing formation was suppressing the surroundings. The killing light was too terrifying, and they had to divert more than half of their energy to deal with it. Moreover, they couldn't block it at all. From time to time, they would be struck by the killing light, and blood would splatter. This place will be your burial ground. Lin Tian's expression was cold and callous. Silver light interweaved on the surface of his body, and the divine One Soul art circulated even faster. The eternal 10 Corners killing formation seethed even more, and killing light filled the surroundings. Clang! 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 The killing light was like a divine sword, suppressing heaven and earth. This time, the three great Tao realm experts were all in trouble. They were all shattered by the eternal killing light. In the distance, Bai Qiu was astonished, and his eyes widened. As so powerful! Ah! The three great Tao realm experts from the sea tribe roared. Their flesh surged, and they once again condensed their bodies. Lin Tianling snorted, took a step forward, and swept the heavenly sword scripture across heaven and earth. The eternal killing light pressed down together with his activation. Bai Ziki's gaze was cold. The sky of thunderclouds and other phenomena in his spiritual sea moved as well, suppressing heaven and earth. Whooshing Crocodile roared. Its demonic body was huge, and it executed a great demonic technique, covering the three sea tribe experts below. I didn't expect that Lord Crocodile would actually have to execute a mystical ability against three great Tao realm little brats. How embarrassing! As it fought its side. Boom! This island trembled. The eternal killing pattern suppressed the three great Tao realm experts, causing them to suffer heavy injuries. Meanwhile, Lin Tian, Bai Ziki, and Wuxing Crocodile's killing auras were also very terrifying. Although they weren't as terrifying as the eternal killing light, they were almost there. When they truly landed, they were enough to threaten the three great Tao realm experts. Their prowess was astonishing. Puff, puff, puff. Not long after, the three great Tao realm experts from the Sea Tribe were once again torn apart in the void. Continue. Lin Tian on Tao. Bai Ziki didn't say anything. He attacked mercilessly, and the phenomenon in his spiritual sea suppressed the surroundings. Together with the eternal killing light, he slashed forward. Lin Tian's phenomenon in his spiritual sea also unleashed an even stronger prowess, resonating loudly. Wuxing Crocodile's demonic technique became even more terrifying. Five-colored lights surged, and a hurricane swept past. Puff, puff, puff. The three great Tao realm experts from the Sea Tribe were once again torn apart, and blood splattered across the sky. The three experts roared. Their torn flesh squirmed and quickly condensed into a physical body. They roared savagely, "Damn it! Our tribe's Sea King Island is nearby. The stronger experts in our tribe will soon sense the abnormality here and chase after us. Before that, all of you will die." Lin Tian's gaze was cold. As he spoke, he said to Bai Ziki and Wuxing Crocodile, "Attack them with all your might. Together with my eternal killing light, we'll end them." Sea King Island was indeed not far from here. If the stronger experts from the Sea Tribe chased after them, it would indeed be very troublesome. Right now, they had to end this battle as soon as possible. Bai Ziki didn't say anything. He nodded slightly, and the phenomenon in his spiritual sea became even stronger. Endless thunderclouds surged. Lin Tian operated the yin-yang lotus sea, forming a yin-yang lotus diagram that floated high in the sky. Wuxing Crocodile activated the demonic technique, forming a killing pot. There were actually bits of Tao law fluctuations intertwined within it. As a primitive, ferocious beast, it was very sensitive to the Tao of the five elements. Moreover, it had once reached the peak of the Nirvana realm. Even though its cultivation level had dropped, there was still an incomplete Tao law power in its body. At this moment, it was manifesting. Clang! The eternal killing formation surged and pressed down fiercely, directly crushing the flesh of the three experts who were condensing their physical bodies. It was also at this moment that the two people and the crocodile moved at the same time. The killing techniques that they had prepared pressed down together. For a moment, thunderclouds, yin-yang killing light, and great path divine powers all came crashing down at the same time, each enveloping a sea clan cultivator of the great path. Three screams of despair could be heard as the divine souls of the three cultivators were annihilated. Little Lin's brother-in-law, have you vented your anger?" Wuxing Crocodile said. Lin Tian ignored it. Bai Ziki also ignored it. "Let's go, let's leave this place," Lin Tian said. "This is the territory of the Sea Tribe. Those three old things were right. If the stronger experts of the Sea Tribe sense us and come after us, we will be in trouble." Bai Ziki nodded, and Bai Chio also walked over. Boom! At this moment, the island shook violently, and an extremely terrifying fluctuation pressed down. With a crack, cracks immediately appeared on the eternal killing formation, spreading out in all directions like a spiderweb. Lin Tian's body suddenly shook, and he turned his head to look outside the island. Wuxing Crocodile, Bai Ziki, and Bai Chio were also shocked. They all turned their heads and looked in the direction of Lin Tian's gaze. At this moment, outside the island, a withered old man appeared. He stood in the air, and his hair was blue. He was obviously a powerful existence of the Sea Tribe. A pair of sunken eyes stared at the three people and the crocodile, and poisonous flames surged in them. The 9 heavens of the Great Path. Whooshing Crocodile was slightly shocked. Lin Tian naturally felt it too. He did not expect the other experts of the Sea Tribe to sense the changes in the battle here so quickly and rush over. Go! He growled, and the 3 people and the crocodile quickly retreated. An expert of the 9th heaven of the Great Path was not someone they could resist. The difference in cultivation was too great. The experts of the Sea Tribe who came here had already noticed that the auras of their saint and 3 supreme elders had disappeared. Obviously, they had all been killed. At this moment, their bodies were exuding an extremely terrifying murderous intent, like a beast from hell that had awakened from a deep sleep. The aura around their bodies was extremely violent, causing the void to creak. All of you must die, the expert of the Sea Tribe said coldly. He took a step toward Lin Tian and the others, blocking them in an instant. Die! With a fierce roar, the sea around the island tumbled, rolling up a monstrous wave. The aura was terrifying. At this moment, other experts of the Sea Tribe arrived outside the island one after another. They all came with the 9th heaven of the Great Path of the Sea Tribe. These cultivators of the Sea Tribe stared ahead, their gazes falling on by Ziki and by Chio. Although they had heard that the siblings had walked out of the Gorge of No Return, and that the saint and several supreme elders of their clan had come here to suppress them, they were still very surprised to see them with their own eyes. When they saw Lin Tian, they were even more surprised. He's the person in the recent rumors. The siblings walked out of the Gorge of No Return, but why is the man in the rumors also here? What's their relationship? This group of cultivators of the Sea Tribe was shocked. They're the saint? Saint! Suddenly, a cultivator of the Sea Tribe spoke in a trembling voice, pointing to the center of the island. There, the corpse of the saint of the Sea Tribe lay quietly on the ground. Instantly, this group of cultivators of the Sea Tribe were all shocked. The genius saint of their clan had actually been killed. Boom! Divine power raged, and the murderous intent was terrifying, causing the entire island to shake. The withered old man stood in front of Lin Tian and the others, his expression extremely cold. Behind him, huge waves surging against the heavens. This old man will extract all of your origin energy, then refine your bodies into puppets and enslave you forever, the old man said coldly. With a rumble, the waves rolled down. The terrifying power was enough to make one's heart tremble. It even sealed the space in all directions. The expressions of the 3 people and the crocodile changed at the same time. This attack was too powerful. Kid, what should we do? Whooshing Crocodile glared. Chapter 758. The waves rolled and surged, forming a huge shadow that shrouded the entire island. Lin Tian raised his head, his expression extremely solemn. An expert at the 9th heaven of the Great Path was too terrifying. How could they resist such an aura? He didn't expect that an existence of this level would appear at this time. This was almost the strongest expert of the Sea Tribe, second only to Ancestor Wushin. Try it, Bai Chio said. A faint light rushed out of her body and turned into a light bead. It was the steadying water bead that she had obtained in the 2nd heaven. Lin Tian naturally recognized that this bead had a very powerful water-controlling power. He didn't hesitate and directly injected his divine power into it. Activated together, Bai Ziki, Bai Chio, and Whooshing Crocodile all injected their divine power into it. Boom! The steadying water bead shone brightly, and for a moment, the surrounding sea boiled again. Rolling waves surged up, not much weaker than the waves of the Sea Tribe expert at the 9th heaven of the Great Path. With a loud bang, the 2 waves collided. Instantly, more waves splashed out, distorting the void. In an instant, more than half of the island was flooded by the surging sea water. The 3 people and the crocodile were violently shaken. The blood in their bodies surged, and they almost coughed up blood. Damn it, this old guy's. Whooshing Crocodile cursed. The steadying water bead's ability was not bad, but their cultivation was still too low. They barely blocked the waves of the sea tribe expert at the ninth heaven of the Great Path, but they all suffered some minor injuries. The sea race's withered elder stood in the sky, and his gaze became even more cruel and merciless. Ants and beasts. With a buzz, he stretched out a big hand, and the demonic light shook and swept over. The three people and the crocodile fought at the same time, but they were repelled again. Lin Tian and Bai Ziki blocked at the front. Their internal organs spasmed, and blood spilled out of their mouths. "Kid, this is not fun. What should we do?" Whooshing Crocodile was slightly anxious. At this time, the island was already covered by a majestic Dao power. They couldn't even escape. Lin Tian stared at the oceanic species powerhouse in front of him, his expression uncertain. A moment later, a cold light flashed in his eyes. "I'll go alone. Don't come over for the time being. Stay here," he said. As soon as he finished speaking, he didn't stop and headed straight for the shriveled old man from the sea tribe. This scene immediately caused Bai Ziki, Bai Chiu, and Whooshing Crocodile's expressions to change. "Kid, are you crazy?" Whooshing Crocodile shouted. "Lin Tian, what are you doing?" Bai Chiu's face paled. That was an elite of the ninth heavenly layer of the Great Tao. How could Lin Tian charge over so directly? At the same time, outside the island, the group of Oceanic clan cultivators who had followed them here were also moved. "He's charging directly at our clan's #1 Supreme Elder? You're courting death. No matter how strong he is and how invincible he is in his generation, he'll only die if he charges over like this. He knows he's going to die. Is he trying to find a chance for his companions to escape? No one can escape. They'll all die." These Oceanic clan cultivators' eyes were filled with shock. Then, they became ferocious and sinister. At this time, Lin Tian had already approached the shriveled old man of the Oceanic clan. The golden light around his body was extremely strong. He directly waved his golden iron fist, smashing the void until it collapsed. He ruthlessly punched the Oceanic species' ninth heavenly layer of the great Tao powerhouse. His physical body was extremely strong. Under such a punch, the expressions of the Oceanic species cultivators changed again. They were all shocked. However, this was still only for a moment. In the next moment, the eyes of these Oceanic species cultivators became vicious again. "It's useless. You can only die," a Oceanic species cultivator said sinisterly. The shriveled old man of the Oceanic species had a ruthless expression. His eyes were extremely cruel. "How dare an ant cry to the heavens? You're courting death." With a buzz, he reached out a large hand. The great Tao laws merged together and pressed down on Lin Tian. "Die!" His voice was cold as if it came from hell. Bai Ziki, Bai Chiu, and the Whooshing Crocodile's expressions all changed. They all rushed forward. No matter how powerful Lin Tian was, he could not block the palm of a ninth heavenly layer of the great Tao powerhouse that contained Tao laws. After all, he was only at the seventh heavenly layer of the immortal ascension realm. The difference in cultivation was too great. Facing this palm, Lin Tian naturally felt the threat of death. However, he was not afraid. The cold light in his eyes became even stronger. At this time, he forcefully withdrew his fist. With a thought, he called out the Xinqing cauldron. He turned the cauldron upside down and faced the Oceanic species' ninth heavenly layer of the great Tao powerhouse. A huge, immortal Lingjing crystal pillar flew out from the cauldron and fell towards the old man. Seeing this, the Whooshing Crocodile's eyes widened. He stopped charging on the spot. At the same time, a powerful demonic power rushed out of his body and swept by Ziki and by Chiu back. He transmitted his voice to them. "Hurry up. Calm your mind." He also did not expect that Lin Tian would take out the immortal Lingjing crystal pillar that sealed the demonized middle-aged man in the Nirvana realm. This was an extremely dangerous thing. Back then, when they were in that underground space, he and Lin Tian had only taken a glance at it, and they had almost died. Almost at this time, the Oceanic species' withered elder's hand fell down and pressed down on the huge, immortal Lingjing that sealed the demonized middle-aged man. Ah! A blood-curdling scream sounded immediately. It was mournful and terrifying. The huge hand of the oceanic species' great Tao powerhouse was instantly enveloped by a terrifying demonic power. His entire arm became as black as ink. Then, it shattered and turned into dust that filled the sky and dissipated. Great Elder! Elder! What is that? Is that the immortal Ling Jing? There's someone inside. There's outside the island. The oceanic species cultivators stared at the huge, immortal Ling Jing that sealed the demonized middle-aged man. Just a moment ago, they were pleasantly surprised by the discovery of the immortal Ling Jing. However, in the next moment, all of them trembled. Their expressions changed. Some became dazed, some became ferocious, and some even waved their swords and slashed at the clansmen next to them. Kill! 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 Among the oceanic species cultivators, a powerhouse roared and lost himself in an instant. The strongest among these oceanic species cultivators was only at the immortal realm. How could they resist the demonized middle-aged man's demonic nature? It should be known that even Lin Tian, who was born as a reincarnated body, almost died. At this time, these oceanic species cultivators were either dazed or roaring crazily. For a moment, some waved their swords and committed suicide, some screamed in horror, and some madly attacked the clansmen next to them. It was as if they had seen their most hated enemy. They attacked ruthlessly and mercilessly. In an instant, streaks of blood exploded. It was demonic and dazzling. This is... Bai Ziki and Bai Chiu were both shocked. Because of the whooshing crocodile's warning, the siblings used their king body's origin to protect their minds. At this time, they were not affected. After seeing this scene, they could not help but be moved and their expressions changed. Well, what is that thing? Bai Chiu stared at the immortal Ling Jing crystal pillar that sealed the demonized middle-aged man and could not help but shrink her neck. At this time, she and Bai Ziki used their king body's origin to protect their minds. Although they were not affected by the demonic nature, when they looked at the demonized middle-aged man, their hearts still trembled and a chill ran down their spines. A demonic origin, the whooshing crocodile muttered. Ah! A scream came from the sky. The shriveled old man of the oceanic species howled miserably. One of his arms was corroded and shattered by the demonic nature, and he could not regenerate it in a short time. At the same time, the demonic nature entered his body through the severed arm, causing his aura to rapidly decrease. He held his head with one hand and rolled miserably in the void. Lin Tian also felt the pressure at this time. He had thrown the immortal Ling Jing fragment that sealed the demonized middle-aged man at such a close distance. Although he had long used the yin-yang lotus seed to protect his mind, at this time he was still greatly affected. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels were throbbing with pain. As for the iron chain around the celestial spirit crystal pillar, it also shocked him. It was too sturdy. After receiving a palm strike from the sea race cultivator of the 9th heaven of the Great Path, it actually did not shatter. It had completely withstood the attack, and only the patterns on it had dimmed slightly. Staring at the immortal Ling Jing crystal pillar, he did not hesitate. He clenched his teeth and summoned a profound azure cauldron, putting it back into the cauldron. He closed the cauldron's lid and summoned the 4-symbol seal at the same time, tightly closing it again. Ah! The shriek was ear-piercing. The oceanic species' 9th heaven Great Path powerhouse was in great trouble. The demonic nature of the demonized middle-aged man had entered his body. It was really not something he could withstand with his current cultivation. It was madly corroding his heart meridians. In the blink of an eye, his body became even more withered. He could not regenerate his severed arm. It was as if even the soul there had been annihilated. Lin Tian stared at the oceanic species powerhouse. Then he tilted his head and looked at Bai Ziki and Bai Chiu. Protect your mind. Use your strongest attack to kill him. His eyes flashed. A flash of lightning flashed across Bai Ziki's eyes. He looked ahead and nodded. With a boom, divine light surged outside his body. A sea of lightning rushed out from behind him, intertwining with palaces. Thunder God physique, divine roar palace of the king's region? The whooshing crocodile stared. It was an old monster that had lived for a long time. Naturally, it could recognize this kind of king's territory. However, Baiziki's actions weren't over yet. The aura outside his body became even stronger, and a huge thunder silhouette stood up from the divine roar palace that he propped up. It was really like a thunder deity as it slowly pulled out a thunder sword with dazzling light. The divine roar palace was now in its strongest state. The thunder god had pulled out his sword. Wong! On the other side, Baichio stepped forward. A dim light flickered outside her body. A vast and boundless starry sky rushed out from behind her. Immediately, a full moon appeared in the starry sky. It was divine and holy, like the moon in the depths of the universe. It made one's heart palpitate. The whooshing crocodile opened its mouth wide. King's territory, the bright moon in the starry sky. She, the lunar imperial physique? Staring at the king's territory that Baichio propped up, it was so shocked that its jaw almost dropped. Previously, when Baichio claimed that she was very powerful and that even a half-step Great Tao powerhouse was no match for her, it didn't believe her and thought that Baichio was bragging. But now it was dumbfounded. The seemingly weak little girl in front of it was actually so powerful. She actually had the lunar imperial physique. These siblings have the thunder god physique and the lunar imperial physique. Are their families going to defy the heavens in the future? It stared. Boom! At this moment, an even stronger divine power rushed out. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.